Salutations and welcome everyone to the El Hombre's Cocktail Lounge. I am not El Hombre. I am Matthew DeSantis. You can find me on Twitter at the handle at @FailDemenace, and I'm a bit of a substitute teacher today as El Hombre and one of his daughter is in the championship game in softball. So obviously we're wishing little El Hombre all the success because only winners are in the lounge, and we know that means that hopefully they're going to bring home a championship trophy in softball tonight. But joining with me tonight is my compatriot on these cocktail lounges and live streams, Sean Patrick Nolan. Sean, how are you doing? And you're on a roll up there at Woodbine already. You've already hit the last two exactas.
Yeah, how are you, my friend? Great to join you tonight. Yeah, we just got a nice dead heat there for a second, which is great. So we're off to a good start and hoping we can keep it going for the folks here. So I'm excited to join you, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us know. Drop us some information here in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from, Kevin. Excited to have you on here as we're going to take you races 4 through the end of the card. So 4 through 8. That's what we're going to be doing here on the card. So the late pick 5 a little bit. And I think there's some really good opportunities for value. We'll obviously see how that ends up playing. But from a morning line standpoint, there were quite a few, longer shots that I really liked in this sequence as well. Todd, check it in. Little tougher than usual tonight. I agree. Yeah. I mean, there's some tricky sequences here a little bit later in the card.
I agree.
But Todd, good to have you here. Uncle Sully, yeah, man, little El Hombre got to bring it home. So we're rooting for sure. So very excited for to get the update. And if he's able to tune in later, El Hombre is going to join us after that softball game. Carson's going to be joining us a little bit later too. So we're going to have a few people checking in from the lounge. Joe, appreciate you tuning in from Orlando. I used to live right down the road from there. I used to live in Lakeland, Florida, right across on I-4.
Sure.
So lovely area. Always love the Sunshine State. And so, yeah, so listen, we got a fun evening, but before we get started with all this stuff, just got to remind all the folks out there, press that subscribe button if you've not subscribed already to all the stuff we're doing on Trust the Profits. We got so much content coming up for the Belmont, for the Triple Crown, and then I'm already getting people lined up for guests at Saratoga and the Haskell and all sorts of good stuff later in the summer. And obviously we have these Monday night live streams with the Cinnaboya Downs, which we're really excited about that partnership as well. That's always a lot of fun. So press that subscribe button, press the like button on this video as well. In the live stream, if you're tuning in, you got to get in there and press that like button. Todd, dead heat for second and the third race, and that helped out my buddy Sean here who had the 4.
I thought I got
caught. Yeah, I know. There are some days like that where you're like,
I'll take it.
Exactly. So, well, listen, let's talk a little bit about this 4th race coming up here at Woodbine. This is going 6.5 furlongs, optional claimer 15, starter allowance 7, with a $41,000 purse on the synthetic, obviously. Like I said, going 6.5 furlongs, and this is for 3-year-olds and up. I don't know about you, but this was one where I really was intrigued by the lone speed in the race, which should be the number 4 Combative. At 8-1 on the morning line. I thought that horse was kind of interesting because when I looked through the PPs, there just wasn't anything else in terms of front end speed. And I thought this horse maybe just gets out on the lead and just takes him gate to wire.
Yeah, and Leo's had good success with this horse in the past, so he obviously knows him, which is at Woodbine. It's a very key to if a rider's ridden a horse before, knows them. That's a very key, and he has done well with them. And I'm with you. I tried to find the speed. I know Emma Jane's horse is coming from out of the clouds. You know what I mean? So there really is no predominant speed. And if Combative gets out, Armada's off to a little bit of a slow start, but a lot of second and thirds. You know what I'm saying? So in the money, a lot. He could be right there, especially as you said, if he gets a nice slow pace, which Leo is capable of doing, he could be right there at the end. I think he's a very good value play.
Yeah, I think, listen, there was a stable duel contest today at Woodbine that's going on, and I've got to say Combative was used in both of my stables that I entered for that contest. From a morning line standpoint, I don't think you can beat this horse. 8-1, $3,000 on stable duel. Really good price for a horse that runs pretty honest too. 5 for 6 in the money career at this 6.5 furlong distance. You look some of those, second back from that long layoff. It's funny, Sean, a lot of the things we were talking about at Assiniboia
Sure.
Monday apply to Woodbine as well. A lot of these horses have been off for most of the winter.
Absolutely.
And now you see some of them coming back, second back from that first
Sure.
attempt, and you figure, hey, there's going to be progression. These horses are going to get a little bit better. So, definitely like what we see from that 4. And you brought up the trainer Armada.
Yeah.
You don't see this often. 0
Sure.
for 21 in terms of winning, but 9 for 21 in the money.
He's right. He has been very, very close. I know him well. He's a great guy, but he's been very close. So the barn is still, even though it hasn't clicked in the winner's circle, it's still clicking on the board.
Whenever I see that, it gives me confidence, because I go, the trainer is getting the horse ready. Like this, these horses are ready to roll. It's just one hasn't broken the seal yet, hasn't gotten the job done. But you knock on the door that many times, eventually you're going to break through. That 4 I think makes a lot of sense as lone speed in this race.
Sure.
And you mentioned Emma Jane's horse, the number 5, Sailor's Passion, for Barrington, who's off to a hot start as a trainer.
Yes.
4 for 11, 36%. And Emma Jane, of course, always really good up there at 18%. Sure. But, this horse also second back from a layoff. The only time it ran 6.5 furlongs, it won. And, you said it's going to be coming from the clouds. But this horse has such overwhelming late speed figures that you figure, even with a lack of pace, this horse is going to try to make it home. So,
exactly.
Hard one to get around.
That's what's funny too, though. Like sometimes with Woodbine, I thought Blonde on the Mission was going to do the same thing in the first race, and didn't even lift a hoof. So, so sometimes you can kind of handicap yourself out and say, "Oh, this horse is," and then just for some reason they just don't fire up there. It can happen. So, but that horse looks, Yeah. Even though I was kind of joking, I did not use anybody in stable for this race, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I was intrigued even by the 1 Wenjack, right?
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Now he's 20-1, and he had one good effort and one where he just didn't have anything at all. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's back to 6.5 furlongs. His races last year would make him competitive. And here's another trainer, Carlos Grant, that doesn't really like to have his horses cranked early. People forget Woodbine runs almost until December. So it's a long, long meet, for these horses. So to crank them up in the beginning and have nothing left by by August is not a good thing, So even if he comes back, to where he was, I'm just saying, like, even the long shots, you can't totally toss in this race. So I find this race fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And glad to see our colleague here on Trust the Profits, Jessica Tugwell, hanging out. Jessica, I know she's a little under the weather this week. So, Jess, I hope you're feeling better. And the 4s where Sheila's landed as well.
Yeah, competitive,
And Todd really likes this 5. And listen, you can't go wrong with the 5. I mean, there's a lot of things to like, certainly with that horse. Understandable. It is, Joe is with you on Wenjack as in terms of third back on the form cycle. Usually you see that if you're going to see the horse's best effort, that's usually when it's going to be that third time back on the form cycle. So makes a lot of sense here. So definitely like this. And we see Bobby D giving out a little bit of picks. He's going to go 2 through 5 over 7, 6, 4. Or 2 and 5 over 7, 6, 4. I should say. I see that for sure. I think that's a pretty solid exacta to play in this spot. So, let us know what you're going to be betting in this race in the comments. Let us know kind of what you're thinking in this one. Where are you going? Where are you going with your top pick? Where are you going with your bet? That sort of thing. So, it's interesting. I look at a few other horses. Obviously, the horse that's attracting a lot of money right now is actually the 6. Al Habe.
Yes.
And, this was one coming off the layoff, right? Has not run since October.
Yeah.
That's the one reason I was a little hesitant to maybe be more excited about this horse. And now this horse is at an even shorter price. It's currently 2-1 on the board. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm just always hesitant to embrace horses coming off that long of a layoff.
Steve Cherkop is known as the layoff guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
He is. Yep.
right, exactly. Which is
Yep.
quite interesting. When he goes down to Penn, he just absolutely dominates them.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Yep.
He is Mr. Penn. He just loves.
Hmm.
And what do you call it? So when he puts in a horse off a layoff, you always have to kind of look, give
You
it a
do.
second look, and obviously the money's showing on it. You know. What
Yeah.
and look at him at this start. Was it 7-5-5 and 29 starts? So
Yeah.
the man is picked off right where he left off from Penn. So he's
Absolutely. No, he's absolutely on fire. And, obviously the horse has some races last year that would be more than enough to win this race. You go back,
sure,
look at those races in September, August, and September. Much the best. The only thing that gave me a little bit of pause
sure.
was this horse didn't run great off of a little bit of a layoff before. Now, that was just from
Yes, and
that
that's
was a
key.
very long layoff.
That's key. That's key up in Woodbine. Very, especially early in the meet to see who
Mhm.
ran well when off the layoffs. That's very key because there's
Yeah.
some. Yeah,
And now, granted, that was in a tougher spot, optional claimer 40, and it
sure.
was on the turf. So you got to take all those things in consideration. But horse
Yep.
didn't fire huge that day. So that was one of the reasons I was a little hesitant on the 6. But listen, the horse definitely has races to run back to there
Sure.
that make a lot of sense. I know, one of the people in the chat like the 7 as well, Sea Scout, 8-1 on the morning line.
Yeah. Juan Crawford. Yeah. Beverly
Yeah.
Chubb.
Now that horse is floating up on the board. That horse is a little dead on the board at 13-1 right now.
Yeah.
Was 8-1. Again, has some races to run back to, but just isn't super consistent. I think that's one
No,
of the issues
not
is
at
you
all.
just
Right.
see some great performances and then you see some head scratchers, and that's hard to, but now it's built into the price. 13 to
Sure.
1,
Yeah.
you're willing to take a shot with that. And it does have some nice works leading into this. That minute and 4 5 furlong work last time out on the synth was a nice one up there.
Sure.
So, definitely some things to take a look at.
And Juan's
Um,
always a hard knocking rider. He rides his
oh,
horse all the
absolutely.
time. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. For sure. So, one of the other ones that was a little bit interesting to me
Sure.
was, and this is along your lines of like the
Yeah.
big, Wenjack and being a little bit of a long shot.
Hmm.
The number 3, Dixie Giant, was a little interesting to me.
Yeah. David
Uh,
Moran. Yeah.
is second back from a long layoff. So again, we're getting that second back,
Sure. Yeah.
which second back for Michael Doyle, only winning at a 46% rate over the last year with a
Right.
$6.92 ROI. So I mean, he clearly knows, second time back is when he really
Right.
bet his horses. And this horse, again, if you go back and look at the middle of last year's meet, has some races. Now, is this horse better at 5.5 or 6? Maybe. But this horse, should be not too far off the pace. I'd imagine this horse
Right.
will be sitting second or third in this race. So, might be pretty forward, and depending on how the track plays, might be a horse to hold on for a minor piece.
Yeah, and has 3
Uh,
wins on the track. So clearly he's
yeah,
shown ability to get up there, which is key.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, we're getting, let's see how we're doing on post. 8 minutes to post still
Yeah.
until
Yeah. Yeah.
race number 4. But listen, let us know what's going on, where you guys are checking in from as well. I know Joe's
Yes,
down in
please do.
Florida, but we'd love to hear where everybody is checking in from. It is one of those things. I know, Sean's up in the Boston area. I'm in the Northern
Yeah.
Virginia area.
Yeah.
We're covering racing in Canada. We're all over.
Yeah, let us know where
So
you're from. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, now I did see Joe mention that the 4 is favored actually in the daily double will pay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's always a key thing to look at.
Yes. I will tell you one thing from experience though.
Yeah.
Versus American daily double pays.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadians are a little bit different than us. That sometimes they're not as true as like some of the American daily doubles, where you'll be
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you look and be like, wait a minute, how is this horse? And then all of a sudden the horse will come in 5th, and you'll kind of scratch your head and say, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? But that's still a very big thing. Is that
Yeah. Absolutely. And he the 4 is also favored in the pick 3 I just looked at as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be interesting. So we got some people checking in from all over. We got Buy Stocks checking in from Buffalo, New York.
Love it. Yeah.
Lovely
Brett
place.
from Hartford down the road.
Yeah, lovely place I visited. Love Buffalo. I was at I went to the home where Teddy Roosevelt was sworn in
No way.
as president. I remember. I love going to national parks and doing that sort of thing. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
one of those. And so after the assassination of McKinley, I think it was McKinley,
Sure.
and then Roosevelt was sworn in. And so I've been there, and it's a really lovely city. I like Buffalo quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I visited in the summer when it's not under 3 feet of snow. We got Brett checking in from Hartford, Connecticut. We got
Awesome.
Jake from Thrilling Pitch checking in from Long Island. So love to see it. And so
New Yorkers here.
Yeah.
The Metro.
But Uncle Sully checking in from Kansas. Love it.
I love it. Go Jayhawks.
Yeah, Rock Chalk. And CJ's my new favorite guy. Checking in from Philly.
Parks,
All
neighbors.
Right. Love it, CJ. I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, so I always love my Southeast Pennsylvania folks. But yeah, I got a lot of people. Joe checking in from New York as well. Got Alexander checking in from Connecticut. So this is awesome. Glad to see it. And hello, we got somebody checking in from Brisbane. Down under in Australia. I'm not even going to try to do an Aussie accent. I have too much respect for the people, but that's great that we have people checking in from all over for today. But listen, Sean, how are you thinking about attacking this one? From I'll kind of put you on the spot first, and we got a $50 pot, obviously. That we can bet from, and we'll keep track of how we're doing throughout the evening. But why don't you kick us off? What are you thinking in terms of how you want to place a bet in this particular race?
Yeah, it's interesting. The horse that we kind of didn't talk about, Honey Won't.
Yeah,
I've never seen Sky Chernet's ride for Steve Vittart, which is kind of funny. This is a new kind of team, if you will. But she rode for her last time. Again, as you said, first time, second time out. Steadied last time, an excuse. So I was thinking of doing exactly like just to start us out like a 2-4-5 exacta box.
I like it.
Just to start it.
I think that's great. Yeah. I love it. So I think that sounds good. So that is, I think, a great bet to start out. I like that 5 a lot. I like the 4, obviously. Yeah. So if we do a 2-4-5 exacta box, that's going to be a $6 bet. That's a great way to start it off. So let's fire that one in. So we're going to place that bet. That bet is now officially submitted. So excellent. And we'll put it here in the chat. So we're going exacta box 2-4-5. So that's where we're going to be going here for our official play in race number 4. And Bobby D checking out from California. It's not quite work time. It's still work time out there on Thursday, 3:18 in the afternoon. So in the West Coast, but so it is. So we're going to be, like I said, staying with you all the way through. We're 3 minutes to post in race number 4. And Honey Won't is starting to take some money now, down to 9-5 on the board. And our number 4 Combative has gone from 8-1 down to 9-2. And then Sailor's Passion has actually floated up a little bit from 5-2 on the morning line to 3-1 right now. But, those 3 felt pretty safe and secure. I mean, I think I'd love to see, that 4 just wire the field and go up, get up top, and then have maybe the 5 or the 2 finish underneath. That would be fantastic. I mean, from a price standpoint. But this one is, this will be a fun one. And like I said, it's interesting. One of the things that we're doing, Colin and I are doing at Assiniboia, is we are charting how horses are doing at the meet, coming off a layoff or second back or shipping in or things like that. And so that's something obviously to keep track of when we're playing Woodbine as well, to look at, how are horses firing off the bench versus how are they, running into shape a little bit. And now you're getting second time. And obviously later in the card, we also have a couple turf races. And so for some of these horses, it's the first time they've had a chance to run on the turf up there this meet as well.
That's a big thing too. Yeah. And the other angle, which is always, I'm not going to say over bet, but people just go nuts, is when the Gulfstream horses come into Woodbine because they think they've run, therefore they're in shape, and therefore they'll,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Even
Yeah.
though their form could be terrible in Florida, like, oh, they're up to
Yeah.
Woodbine now, and they're, so it's always an interesting angle to
Yep.
kind of see for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Jeff, what's going on, my man?
Yeah,
Good to
how
see
are
you
you?
checking in. Love seeing Jeff here in the lounge. If you're just tuning into the lounge and you're expecting El Hombre, I apologize. I am maybe an unsuitable replacement, but I
No,
am
we have
here.
a fabulous replacement. What are you talking about? One of the best.
So, but El Hombre is, as I mentioned, at his daughter's championship softball game. We were very excited for her, wishing her the best. And El Hombre might be checking back in at the end of that if that game wraps up early. And so wishing him and the daughter all the success. Dennis Trusty, Dennis, good to see you in the chat. Love it, my friend. And he's kind of with us here. Key boxing the 5 with a 2-4-8. So Dennis, we and Dennis can both win, and that's the key right there. So love it. So we got 2 minutes to post here coming up at Woodbine. So gonna start taking a look at how things are going to be playing out, and they're starting to make their way to the gate, it looks like.
They are,
so
yeah. Late money on the 4 now, 5-2. Matt pushing the needle. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. The old cocktail lounge pushing the needle.
I love
that
it.
is the way we are going. So so here we go. What do we got? In Opva, always a pleasure to see in Opva.
Yes, sir.
And so going race 4, win place on the 3. That's not a bad idea. That 3 is a big price and has some decent races in it.
Anybody who plays the 1 to the 3, I have no problem with it.
Yep, I completely agree.
Trying to get
completely agreed. Yep, absolutely.
This is a wide open race. This is no slam dunk.
No, absolutely not. So they're loading them into the gate here. And we'll go ahead and, call this one for the folks at home.
Yes, absolutely.
But, they're getting them loaded in here, loading in the 4 already. Now the 5 is going in. Yeah, that 4 is really getting hammered. Now the 4 is now the favorite. So that daily double in pick 3 really was very indicative of where they were going.
No doubt.
So,
yeah, now down to 2-1.
Yeah, now down to 2-1. So they're getting ready. They're loading in the final horse here, loading in the 8.
Yes.
And they're loaded in for 6.5.
Yeah.
And they're off. And pretty good even start. The 5 kind of falls back a little bit. The 1 is really there. It's interesting. The 4's not. I mean, the 4's now starting to emerge a little bit, but they're kind of all in a pack there. The 3, the 4, and it looks like the 7 maybe are all pretty close to the lead right now. So they're going 3 across the track early. And now it's the 3 and the 4 with combative there as well. And so they're making their way down the backstretch, and it is the 3 in the slight lead with the 4 kind of stalking right off about a neck off, followed by the 2. And so now the 3, Dixie Giant, is starting to try to pull away a little bit, but there's the 4 right there sticking to him, the combative. And the 8 is looming up on the outside, hard to capture. But now they go into the stretch, and Dixie Giant still in the lead, but here comes combative going to trying to get to the front. But Dixie Giant, the 3, is really hanging on. Here comes the 2. Here comes the 5 from the clouds. So now the 2, Honey Won't, makes it up there. We got the 3, the 4, and the 5 all there. And, it is the 2, Honey Won't, over the 3, Giant Dixie, over the 4, combative, over the 5. So it goes 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had the right idea and just barely missed out on the exacta there with the 2, 4, 5 exacta. So that was a tough one with the 3, but that 3, I think, we talked about that 3 a little bit, and the 3 did get hammered late all of a sudden. Went from 20 to 1
to 1.
Yeah, went all the way down to 8 to 1. So, we definitely talked about that one a little bit. So,
Michael,
so that 4, that 2 though looked really good. Obviously, third back from the form cycle, and you mentioned that Chernetz doesn't ride for a tard very often.
No,
but,
and this horse was completely steadied last race, really hard. She was really coming. That's why I included her, because she was really coming last time.
Yeah.
I thought Emma would be able to get up for, but and 3-1 in that too is actually the morning line price. That's not a bad value. I thought,
not at all.
That is great.
Yeah, considering about 2 minutes before the race, he was 9-5, and then floated back up. So you absolutely got the
and in Appa, winning place in the 3. Nice call.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that 3 in place, that's always good. It's funny. I often, usually the dividing line for me is usually like 8-1. So about what the horse went off at. When it's 8-1 or higher, I'll play that win place bet. And kind of go, listen, even if we just hit place, we're still going to make some money. So
still going to make some money.
So that was a good one. I thought that was good. The 3, like I said, was interesting to me. And definitely improved second back from the layoff. Yes. And we talked about how good Michael Doyle is getting him ready second back from the layoff. So, that horse definitely improved.
Yeah, whenever Jimmy Jerkins' horses when they would ever ship up to Woodbine, Michael Doyle would always take them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
He's been a legend up there for like 30, 40 years. He's an excellent trainer. So
yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The one horse we didn't really mention was the 6, who was another one of the potential favorites, Al Hay Bay. And you and I talked. That horse didn't really fire the last time off the layoff.
No, exactly.
It's one thing if you're seeing a horse, I think, the first time coming back from a long layoff. Then I really do rely on trainer stats a lot of times and go,
absolutely. It's a must.
But when a horse has a history of coming back from a layoff and doing something, I much rather rely on the horse's history than the trainer history, because if the horse consistently doesn't come back strong, then that's the most important indicator, no matter how good or bad the trainer might be. I remember there was a trainer one time, I forget who it was a smaller barn, and it was down in Tampa, and there was a horse that this trainer had, and the horse was like a lower level version of Flightline, where it one run for 8 months and then come back and run, run for 8 months, come back and run. And it was so hysterical. You looked at this trainer's stats coming off the layoff, abysmal. The only wins this trainer had was that one horse.
But that's all he needs.
Right. This horse comes off the layoff like gangbusters. And so everybody else might not be great in his barn coming off the layoff, but this one is. So
this one he's just ready to run.
Exactly. Ready to roll. So so we got like I said, we got the 2 there to win. Honey Won't paying $880 to win, so that's a nice one.
Very nice.
And Giant Dixie indeed pays $740 to play, so nice hit there for an Opa. And then Combative hits $3 to show. The Exacta pays $26.90 for the $1 Exacta. The Trifecta, interestingly, actually pays less. The 20-cent Trifecta, I should mention, pays $15. So dollar, if you multiply by 5, then it pays more. And the 20-cent Superfecta pays $51, and the $1 Daily Double plays $33.25. So all right, so I feel like we at least saw the ball pretty well in that one.
Right church, wrong pew, but we're exactly we were right there.
I love that expression. My mom and dad used to say that when I was a kid growing up. And having gone to school in South Carolina, I can, there's a lot of that too. Right church, wrong pew sort of mentality sometimes. Yeah. So love it. Well, let's head on to race number 5 on the card, and. This is one of those that's going to be a claimer, $7,500 claimer going 6 furlongs. And this one is for 3-year-olds and up. And, it is non-winners of 2 lifetime, I think. Yeah. Or non-winners of 2 in a race in 2023. And so, or non-winners of a race in 2023. There's a lot of conditions. But this one, Sean, I'm interested. Where did you end up going in this one?
Well, for my stable duel, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh. I'll preface that first, just so I tell people.
Not at all. Not at all.
If you liked Willing Armada, I'm going with Vito Armada. Exactly. again with Leo Salas on the 8, Stylish Gent. That was my. Here's another horse again. Dropped last time, dueled off the rail, gave way a little bit, but and he used to be trained by Will Armada, exactly.
Yeah.
So Vito's taking over, but his races last year were definitely competitive. You know what I'm saying? Versus this group, and he's one of those horses that I think, he's 1 for 15 at Woodbine, but he had been running against much better last year. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is one of those horses where I just thought the value, dropping second time in 7,000, maybe he can find this group a little bit more at a price,
Yeah.
So that was my stable dual pick,
No, it makes sense. I mean, I like that 3 furlong bullet he fired off actually after the last race. There was a lot to like there. This is a horse that used to be in the Mark Casse barn. And, like you said, last year was running in, claiming 23 5s and optional claimer 40s, and is now running in a claiming 7,500. So, there's absolutely a class drop there. The buyer par for this race, if you look at that sort of thing, is a 61, and this horse absolutely has some races to run back to at that level. Going back, both in the maiden ranks when he was running to break his maiden, as well as a couple of races last year in November that I think would be good enough to win here. And he's taking some money early on the board. He's 10-1 morning line, now down to 9-2 on the board.
And he's got Leo back. He's got Leo back, which is great because he's had 2 solid thirds versus better with, sometimes you find just up in Woodbine, just certain jockeys have the key to certain horses up there. Like if another jockey rides it, the horse doesn't look anything alike. But if one certain jockey gets on a horse, he or she will just will recognize that and run like it,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Familiar,
Well, it's funny. You talk about trainer, you're talking about jockey horse kind of symbiosis sometimes. And one of the horses that always sticks out to me, we just saw win a grade 1 last weekend, is Macadamia. That horse became a completely different horse when Tiago Pereira hopped on board.
Yes.
And it's funny. I was talking to Jess Pfeiffer about this a couple months ago. And she said Tiago went out of his way to work that horse in the mornings for Phil D'Amato. And really made a passionate plea to D'Amato to let him ride that horse in races. And he said, okay, that's fine. And it's just like all of a sudden something clicked with those two, and it's the Brazilian connection because the horse is Brazilian, Brazilian. And so, but sometimes you just get the right jockey on a certain horse and things take off, and they just know how to ride the horse and can respond to the horse's energy and that sort of thing. So
you'll remember a horse definitely, because I know you follow Maryland. Cordmaker.
Oh yeah.
Right. Anytime Victor rode him, the horse ran straight. Right. Anyone else rides him, he'd go wide, he'd go in, out, over the moon, around third, fourth, fifth. I mean, he just never seemed to. But Victor got him. He ran in a straight line and often won. Because he just knew Victor was on him, and he just every time he said, "Oh boy, I got Victor, let's go."
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really funny. I do that. That's so true though with the Victor and Cordmaker. That was a really good horse too. I've seen that a few times in person. So Jessica's here. She likes.
I like it, Jessica.
She's going
better now.
4-8 for her in stable duel. That's kind of her play. And that 4 is interesting. The 4 is coming back from a really long layoff. Last ran November 2021. So you're looking at almost an 18, 19, 20-month layoff now. And, obviously, I guess 19-month layoff. So, that is, pretty substantial. But the horse broke his maiden in a maiden claimer 15 before going to the bench. Comes back and, obviously has been training very well, has been training pretty steadily the last, couple of, since mid-April, really kind of getting up and ready for this race. The horse does have good early speed. I think, only being 6 furlongs is probably beneficial. And, certainly, is a horse that can really get out there. The jockey's a little bit cold right now.
Yeah, Cavey is one of my good friends.
Yeah.
He has 8 thirds.
I know.
I keep telling him, I'm like, don't worry, you're gonna win with exactly. But he's he's riding well. He's just not getting up to the top.
Yeah,
exactly. But exactly. Yeah. But definitely not in the win spot yet.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm looking. I've been handicapping Belmont for Saturday because I'm doing capping the card with Acacia. That's going to be a shameless plug. That'll be dropping tomorrow.
Yes.
But it reminds me a little bit of Dylan Davis. Dylan Davis is winning on like 6%. He's in the money 58% of the time, and is right. So he's right there all the time. He just isn't getting home. I mean, that happens sometimes. So,
and if you take away all his disqualifications that he's I mean, he'd be at like
don't you know it? Don't you know?
He'd be like 11%. That's what I tell Jack and Katie all the time.
Absolutely.
Like, Jesus, if they, he's become the whipping boy of Naira.
He really has. He really has.
I mean, come on, man.
But
but he's riding great still.
He is.
He's always in there.
So this one, it's interesting. This race has a couple of other, I think, interesting horses to talk a little bit about.
What horse is interested? Yeah.
So the 3, listen, the 3's the favorite.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I'm attracted to the 3 a little bit, and I should mention the 5 is actually currently the odds-on favorite right now. Dragon's Key, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a second. 2-1. Yep. But the 3 is interesting to me only because we've seen how well Oaklawn shippers have been running all over.
Yes.
I mean, they've been, when the Oaklawn horses come up to Assiniboia, they've absolutely been crushing. We've seen Oaklawn form hold up in big time spots, in big time days, the Kentucky Oaks, at the Black Eyed Susan. There were a lot of really good Oaklawn horses that got stuck in that monsoon in Arkansas all freaking winter where it rained every day. Yes. And suddenly you get them on a dry, fast track and, oh my God, they're really good, it turns out. That Oaklawn form is just, like I said, it's been very, very strong this year. Now, the interesting thing about Fastlane is you could argue his best 2 races were in the slop at Oaklawn.
Yes.
In terms of recent form. And I tend to think, much like when you see a horse run well in the slop and dirt, you think, well, maybe it's going to run well in the turf. I also tend to think it's going to maybe run well in synthetic. So I think that dirt to synthetic transition might be okay for that 3.
Yeah, for years, Norm McKnight has been one of the leading trainers up there. He used to be at like a ghastly, like 36, 37%.
Oh my gosh.
He used to be just everything would win. And then what he does is he brings his horses down to Oaklawn, and then very much kind of like Michael Maker does for Del Mar, Norm claims like 6, 7 horses at Oaklawn that he thinks would be very good for Woodbine and brings them back with him.
Oh, there you go.
Woodbine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, and usually they run pretty solid. So, exactly. Yeah. So obviously the public is onto that. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we got a hot hand here with an OPVA, and he's going win place on the 8. And that's the play of the day. So I love it. That is fantastic.
Love it. I'm with you.
Ryan, good to see you in the chat.
Hey, man. Ryan, fellow Bostonian.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you here. And Jeff dropping some knowledge here on Dragon's Key, second off the layoff. Drops 2 classes for a 31% trainer making that move. Only played this track when they went there for the Breeders' Cup and only on turf, but so still undefeated on Tavita there. Yeah, it's still undefeated on the synth. Listen, the 5 does make a lot of sense. It is dropping down in multiple classes from that claiming 25 to a claiming 75 and or 7,500. Just to be clear, and is that second back from the layoff that we've seen be rather a successful move. So,
and Tiller and Daisuke win a lot of races together. A lot.
Yeah, they do. 21%. Yeah, they do. No, definitely.
And they come from the clouds.
Yeah. Hey, we got Marla checking in.
Hey, Marla, how are you?
Love to see it. So, Marla, hope you're doing well today. And then the other horse that I thought was a little interesting was, and I need to check very quickly to see kind of where this horse is on the board. It's actually pretty steady, is the 7 executive chairman.
Yeah.
And this is a horse that, again, second back from the layoff. And ran a pretty decent third last time and got floated out super wide around that far turn. I watched the
Yeah.
replay of that race, and the horse was making a wide
Yes.
move to start with, and then just
And
got
still
kept
missed
getting
second.
pushed out,
Yes.
and nearly got second that day. And
Yeah.
I just thought, maybe second time back, this horse, can maybe get up there and run pretty well. I like the fact that this horse came back with a nice 4 furlong work in on May 22nd of 48-1. This horse seems to be training pretty well, and I thought maybe again has some races going back to last year that it could run back to that might be good enough in this spot. So
and here's another rider. I love Justin Stein. He's one of my favorite guys up there. Here's another guy who's winning the Deshaun Parker Award right now. For just, he's much better than 1 for 59, but he's got 10 seconds and 11 thirds.
Yeah.
So he's still riding good. He just can't seem to find the winner's circle. Exactly.
Yep.
But he's much better than that,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. Absolutely right. No, I mean, it's crazy to see, you're right. 1 for 59 and yet 22 for 59.
These two were like 20% together. So, exactly. To throw that horse out would be foolish.
No, he was one I used in Stable Duel, with the fixed odds at 6-1, $5,000. I thought, that horse could finish up pretty well. I was thinking. So, it is, let's see, what do we got? We got 15 minutes to post here. Let's check the will pays. So the will pays on the double, the 3 is kind of your overwhelming favorite here, Fast Lane, and followed by the 5, Dragon's Key. And if you look at the pick 3, same story. The overwhelming favorite is going to be this number 3, Fast Lane. I mean, the will pays are pretty staggering, the difference between those. So, it's over half the price or less than half the price a payout of the number 5, Dragon's Key. So I'd expect that 3-1 on Fast Lane to plummet pretty much as we get closer to post time there, and for things to get reversed. But right now, Dragon's Key at 5-2. Stylish Gent, you're number 8 at 9-2, and staying pretty steady there. So definitely a lot to like, I think, with that 8 for sure. So, hey, there's Keith. Keith's checking in. He's letting him know that everybody is doing better than Stable so far. So, Keith, I'm sorry.
Woodbine's it really is one of those tracks where it's tough to single people. It really is.
It
Try
is.
to find a single. It's not an easy assignment. It really is not.
No, I'm sitting 14th in one of mine, and because I hit the exacta in race 3 like you
wonderful.
did. And so I did well there, and then I have combative in race 4, which they haven't scored yet. And so we'll see about that one, but so I'm doing all right in that one, and then I'm 35th in the other one, so I'm not doing good on that one. But I also have fewer horses, so we'll see.
I'm 3 right now, but I've used 6 horses. So
just using them all right now. But when you got 8 races, you got to double up.
Right.
Double up early.
So far, we've done okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're doing all right. So, so definitely like that. So, listen, let us know in the chat where you going in race number 5. How are you playing this one? We know Inopfa is going win place on the 8, but where are you going with your bets here in this one? And so we are. Listen, we're down a little bit. We lost a $6 bet in the first race, so we're hanging out at a $44.
That's going to bring us right back.
We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Absolutely.
And so it's not going to be a problem at all. So we're going to come back, and I think we're going to. I already have a sense of what we want to do, but I want to hold on a little bit to see. Just wait a little bit, but
just coming down the path. So.
Yeah, exactly. But Sean, I was curious, any horses that we've not mentioned yet that you were interested in using here?
Okay. No, you've kind of hit on the ones that I thought were the interesting ones. The horse that was like kind of I want to use but I can't use was a 2 Silent Lucidity. Because Louis Contreras loves riding for our buddy John Ross, which is, I mean, they do very well together.
They do.
But this is one of those horses where I watched the race and he just didn't have anything. You know what I'm saying? Now It's coming off the layoff. Used to be trained
Mm-hmm.
by Tedston. Sometimes up in Woodbine, the trainer needs a race just to see what the horse is doing. How it works, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes they can just pop right in the second once they got to know him a little bit. But that was just an interesting horse. Just from I was looking for a stable bull. I'm like, okay, that's not the worst horse in the world.
I agree. I agree with you on that, because if you look at that horse more closely, a couple of things that I like. One is the horse is cutting back a little bit in distance, going from 7 to 6, and is dropping in class. And you mentioned sometimes the trainer needs to take a look at how things are looking too. And so, John clearly took a look and said, "Listen, let's take this horse down a level and go from claiming 15 to claiming 7,500." And so there are definitely some things to like.
Bet, by the way, N was bet, which is interesting. I mean, so somebody thought at least he was going to do a little bit more than I'm saying. So that's an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he went off, I think, as the third choice that day. At 6-1, basically. So definitely makes some sense. I know the one horse, I don't know, is floated up a little bit, with 7-2 on the morning line, now 7-1. And I don't know. I know second back from the layoff, but the concern here is this horse is a closer and drawing the rail on a 6 furlong sprint. I just don't like that combination of things. Because I don't think this horse is good enough to go past them all, which is what he's going to have to do.
Yeah, knowing Paul, which is interesting, is that you go from a claiming 15, then he runs pretty decently, and then you drop him to 7.5. And so so you never know exactly there, but I wasn't super high on him, especially from the rail.
Yeah, exactly. We got King Sports Picks also digging the 2. He thinks the 6 furlongs is the perfect distance for that horse, and I agree. I mean, I think we both kind of like there's something to like about that too, a little bit. At a little bit of a price. So
plus he's out of one of my favorite Sunday Silence grandsons. How can you not at least like him as a horse?
Absolutely. So Joe Sidor likes he's hoping the 8 can sit behind the speed. I agree. The 8 breaking from that outside post should be able to kind of judge how things are going and then slot down in and
versus American tracks is very interesting. The outside is not always a bad place to be, because you're going dead straight and you can kind of set your position up there on the poly track, which is nice. Unlike we're like at Belmont, maybe if you're in the 11 and 12, maybe not the total ideal, spot, but up there, it's much more of you can just get out and kind of set your kind of spot, which is,
So Jeff here's got the 5 up top, and he can see the 1 maybe closing in the rail from second. Listen, if we've seen some horses close for sure and make up ground. So the track's definitely playing fair. And that's something to certainly keep in mind, because there's sometimes, I know down at Gulfstream Park, I know the Tapeta sometimes can be pretty heavily biased. I mean, usually you don't want deep closers on that surface at all. You want horses that sit mid-pack a lot more, stalkers.
And the less rain, the better the closers do. So very much. That is a very much for the poly track up there, especially.
Absolutely, because when it's dry, they get a little tired on the front end.
Yes, very much.
And then they can. And then the closers
when
can start coming
raining,
in.
They just keep on going.
They are just on their way to Key West. I mean, they're flying. There's no problem at all.
Just keep running for 12 furlongs.
They can keep running. So what do we got? We got 6 minutes to post here. For race, or 5 minutes to post now for race number 5, and they are making their way around. They're on the track now, and we'll see. It's interesting. Dragon's Key still holding a pretty strong lead in terms of the price, 2-1, and the 3 Fast Lane is at 7-2. Now I think that's going to reverse based upon everything we saw with the Will Pays, but you pointed out it's not always one to one.
People up there are Tiller and Daisuke in love with that. They love betting that combination, especially at these levels. That this is where Daisuke does his best thing. So So he's right that I can see where the public is. And if you like another horse in this race, you can love that, because if you can
Oh,
beat them,
absolutely.
you're getting some nice, as you said, 7-2 on fast lane. If you can get that at the gate, hello,
Yeah, I mean, I jump at 7-2 on the 3, based on everything we've seen from Oaklawn
Sure.
so far. So,
And Rafi's off to a great start. So yeah,
yeah. No, this one feels, like I said, kind of an interesting, little bit of an interesting race, and obviously some horses. Most of these horses second back from or third back from a long layoff, so most of these should be
yeah,
in shape. Obviously, the 4 Soup Spoon, who I know Jessica likes a little bit, is that
yeah,
horse coming back from that real long layoff,
yes,
and is likely just going to gun it to the lead, I would
yeah. That's
imagine.
what I would.
And
That's That's kind of Kevin's forte is gunning. So
yeah, absolutely. And then it's just a matter of, is the conditioning there, and
yeah,
can the horse kind of sustain it for 6
yes,
furlongs? And so I think that's the question. But I think we know how the race shape is going to set up there. I will say I was a little surprised in the last race that the 4 didn't get out to as easy of a
me
lead
too.
as I
I'm
thought.
shocked that Leo took back. That was not my. Yeah, exactly.
That was not the way I thought that
No,
race was going to go
no,
in
exactly.
early. It kind of finished roughly the way we thought, but early it did not go the way I thought. And because it appeared on paper at least that 4 had a pretty significant pace advantage.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we're going to see. So listen, what we're going to do here
yeah.
is, from a betting standpoint, we're going to do another exacta,
Okay,
but we're going to do an exacta key box,
love it.
and we're going to do an exacta key box, and we're going to key the 3, because I really
Okay,
like the
love it.
3,
Yep, love it.
and then we're going to include the 5, the 7, and the 8.
Love it.
And
Love it.
so we're going to do a 3 keyed with the 5, 7, 8, and that's going to be a $6 bet for a $1
Yep, love it.
exacta,
Yep, love
and
it.
that's what we're going to go with. So there
Love
it
it.
is. It
Yep,
is in, folks. It is in.
love it.
So we got the exacta key box, EX key box, with the 3 keyed over the 5, 7, 8. So again, if
Love
the
it.
3
Yep,
finishes first or second, you're there, and then the 5, 7, 8, any one of those 3 can win.
love it.
So Todd feeling very cocky about the 5 here. He
Yeah,
thinks the 5's going to roll. We'll see. Sounds a little bit like our good buddy on Twitter, Shu, who will
yep,
say, "Oh, we're going to win by a poll. Going to win by a poll."
exactly.
And he just got easy does it. Easy does it. That's why they run the races. And we'll see. But that's where we're going to go there in race number 5. But they're starting to get closer to the gate. So yeah, we got a minute to post here.
Great
And
story, by the way. I was with Shu on Monday on Sunday at Monmouth.
Yeah, he loves
And
Monmouth.
his
Yeah.
horse was
Oh,
running.
Bombarella. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
Bombarella, right? He
Yeah.
actually went into the racing office and asked, "What is the record for a mile and 16th on the turf? Because my horse is running tomorrow to break it." I love
I
it.
love
I
it.
love it.
I love it. I love it. No, I love it. And listen, I joke with people. I swear to God, the 3rd race at Monmouth probably got more handle than any other race
It
that day,
did.
because
Exactly.
people, say what you will about Shu, but people love following that guy, and
Yeah.
and hey, I put a $5 win place bet on
Yeah.
Bombarella.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we all did, just to have a little fun with it. So,
And,
uh,
and a good friend of mine, he used to be the assistant trainer for Jimmy Jerkins, Kent
yeah.
Sweezy.
Oh, Sweezy,
Every
yeah.
time Shu opens his mouth, he says, "Oh no!" he
I
said,
know.
"What are you doing to me?" Is that?
I know. Sweezy's a good guy, and he's
He's great. He's
but it
great.
is funny. He's just like, these guys. And he's
Every
just
time
like,
Shu talks, he's like,
but
"Oh no!
yeah,
Oh
I know.
no!"
But I mean, but he loves the
It's
horses. He
great.
really
He
does,
does.
and
He
he
loves
gets
it.
his
Yeah,
daughters involved, and
he does. It's
it's good.
awesome.
So,
Yeah.
good
We're
for the
going
sport.
in.
But yeah, they're going in. So, getting ready here
Let's
for
get it home.
race number 5, and again, we're going with the 3 keyed over the 5, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So
Love
3, 5, 7, 8 can win or finish second. So that's the way we're going to
Yes.
be working
Yes.
in this one. The key is at the 3, who is now your favorite. So the odds have reversed. And following those will pay trends, the 3 is going off at 2-1 currently, the 5 at 3-1, the 7 at 6-1, and the 8 at 5-1. So going to post here in race number 5. And they're off. Pretty level start. The 4 had to take back a little bit. That was the horse we thought might get on the lead. But as a result, your boy Stylish Gent, the 8, going to get up on the lead, and honestly, a pretty easy one at that. Has opened up 3-4 lengths on the rest of the field right now, followed by Fast Lane and Dragon's Key. So listen, we could stop the race right now if we want and catch some tickets. So here they come. And Stylish Gent still just leading the way, 23-1 opening opening quarter, I should say. And the 8 still with a 5-6 length lead at this point, and just starting to really open up on the field. But now it looks like the rest of the field's starting to catch up a little bit as we're going around the far turn. The 3 has the inside position, is being asked a little bit here, and the 8 is starting, we'll take him into the lane though. And now here comes the 4, who we thought was going to be in the lead, but the 8 looks like might just take him gate to wire, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The 8 is still finding more as it's closing, and so the 8 Flashy Gent, or Stylish Gent I should say, wins by 3 over the 4 Soup Spoon, over the 5 Dragon's Key. So 8-4-5 is the way they finished there in that race, in race number 5. So that was a little interesting because I think we both thought the 4 was going to gun it for the lead.
Me too. When Kevin missed the break, I said, "Oh boy, Leo probably took 2 peeks over, didn't see Kevin, and said, okay, this is my chance to gun." He's not going to be with me, And to Kevin's credit to get back up for second, I thought when he lost the lead, he's done.
I thought that was very impressive for a horse coming off a 19-month layoff.
Yeah, he's going to my stable mail for sure.
Absolutely,
that was.
Yep, that was very good. 19-month layoff. Clearly, it doesn't go as planned out of the gate, has to take back pretty significantly, and then keeps running and passing horses, which we have not seen that horse do previously. That horse usually gets out of the lead. In its maiden debut, it got out on the front end and got passed by a bunch of horses late, and then when it finally broke its maiden, it wired the field. So the fact that 4 showed the ability to pass horses, I thought was pretty telling, and some decent ones at that. So absolutely, the 8 just caught a flyer out of the gate, and didn't see obviously wasn't challenged, was able to get out to an early easy lead and set things straight. Jess, you're going to be catching up on Stable Duel because I know you hit the exacta. You hit that 4-8 on Stable Duel, so you're moving up. Moving on up to the other side.
Jess and the Jeffersons.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, love it.
Jeffersons. That sounds like a 1970s band. Jess and the Jeffersons. So listen, we didn't hit it, but again, we were kind of around.
We were close. We were very
a lot. And we both like the 5. And so, it's just, the 4, of course, had to screw things up.
This is one of those tracks, literally. I say this quite often to everybody. Yeah, you could use 5 horses in every race. You really could. It's one of those tracks where if you hit, fabulous, but you could use 5-6 horses in every race. That's why the exactas pay well up there, because people really don't know which combo to use.
Mm-hmm. No, it's the truth. I mean, it's one of those tracks. It's really interesting where, I don't play it that regularly. And I play it for Stable Duel every once in a while. And it is one of those where you can, you can sit there and feel like you have a good horse, and you feel like you have 4 or 5 really good horses in your stable. Yeah. And they run 4th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and you're like, how come I'm not getting a winner today? And it can be, you're right. It can be tough. I mean, I don't think I've ever played a really deep sequence up there. I think maybe I've played some daily doubles. I've played maybe some, pick 3s, but I don't think I've ever played anything more than that. That's for sure. Because you're right. Like you're like, well, I got to use this horse and I got to use that horse. And next thing you know, it's a $250 ticket. And you're like, all right, well, I'm not playing that at all. So, we're out. Listen, in Opfa, by the way, in Opfa's
Yeah,
because an Opfa hit that win place on the 8.
it did. Yeah,
That was an Opfa's bet. So
great job.
and
Yeah,
Opfa needs to come on here clearly and
yeah,
start winning.
absolutely. Yeah.
We should have just followed that one. We'd have been doing well. So that
I did.
is yeah, good. Good to see some people hitting though in the lounge. And Stylish Gent
Yeah.
gets the win, pays $12.20 to win. Soup Spoon, the 4, pays $7.30 to place, and Dragon's Key hits and pays $3.20 to show. The 7 executive chairman finishes 4th. So it's funny, we had 8, 5, and 7 in our key box, and it finishes 1st, 3rd, and 4th.
I know.
What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
And so one of those things, but the $1 exacta pays $45. The 20-cent trifecta pays $45.60. The 20-cent super pays $187, and the daily double pays $41.55. So pretty nice payouts there in race number 5. But we keep rolling along,
we do.
and we're rolling on to my favorite type of race, which is maiden special weight. I'm excited. I love it. So we're going on the turf now. We're back on the turf, if I'm not mistaken, right? Race 6 is on the turf.
We're back on the inner turf. Yep.
All right. Now, Sean, you watch this enough, and anybody who watches New York at Belmont knows you have the inner turf and the Widener turf.
Yes.
At Woodbine.
Yes.
What is there a huge difference between the way the two courses play or not?
Absolutely dramatic difference. There are some horses up there that love the inner turf, and you put them on the Widener, and they might as well be running against like just themselves. They just they're not even the same horse. You're like, are you the same horse that just beat? And sometimes people have a tough time, and they'll bet, oh, he's won 2 in a row, and then on the outer, and then what happened? Exactly right.
Yeah,
it's a very big. It's more narrow. It's more the outer. So to give people kind of just a description, when you get to Woodbine, when you are at the rail, unlike most American tracks where you're in the dirt, you're on the turf course. You are directly on the outer turf course. Okay. Then inside is the poly track. Then inside that is the inner turf. So exactly. So it's a whole different ball game. It's much more narrow than the outer turf is, and much shorter of a stretch. I mean, it's still a long stretch. Woodbine's one of the longest stretches, and but I'm saying, when you're in the outer, you're really going a long time. You know what I'm saying? So it's a dramatic difference.
Yeah. No, and I see. Dennis mentioned he really likes speed on that inner turf.
It's much harder to close. Yes.
Yep. And I would imagine that makes a ton of sense. You want to get out on the front end. It's hard to pass going around a tighter turn. And then, like you said, you have a more limited stretch run than you would on the far outside. So, so it makes a lot of sense. But listen, we got Bobby D giving out plays already in the next one. He's playing race 6. He's going exacta box 5-8. There you go.
He's got Flintshire.
So there you go. So Sean, maiden special weights going 5 furlongs on the turf. And just $110,000 allowance, or $110,000 maiden special weight for fillies that are fillies and mares that are 3-year-olds and up. And so where did you go with this one? Where are you leaning?
If I didn't think too hard on this one. Okay. Yeah. Star Candy ran against Last Call and Cairo Concert. Okay? If they were in this race, they would be 1-10. Exactly. Right.
That is correct.
And also lost to Courtly Rowe, who was amazing, exactly, and just barely lost at 7 furlongs. I think if this horse comes back and runs anything like it was, I know the poly track, they put it as a favor because they love betting Case and husbands, of course, but I just don't think it's as much a poly track horse as a turf horse, And I think this horse is getting ready to have a big campaign this year,
I completely agree. And if you look at the will pays, the 3 is going to go off at a very short price.
Yeah.
and compared to what everybody else is paying. The 9 maybe a little bit, but I mean, it's pretty
Yes.
obvious the 3 is going to be your overwhelming favorite
Yes.
in this race. And listen, there's a lot to like from a pedigree standpoint. Candy Ride up top, out of Dam by Giants Causeway.
Sure.
You
Live
mentioned
Oak.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they thought so highly of this horse
Yes.
after its maiden, which it barely lost,
Yeah. Yeah.
that they put it in the Talman. They put it in a grade 1 second time out.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
clearly had big things in store for this horse. Then they
Sure.
move it to the Poly at 5.5 furlongs. It just doesn't do quite as well.
No. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But to Dennis's point, this is a horse that does have early speed.
Yeah.
And will presumably get out there on the front end or be very close to it.
Yeah.
So you would figure, that it's going to set up from that standpoint. I like you. I didn't overthink this one too much. I thought the 3 made a ton of sense. I tried to take a look at a few others in here, but I kept kind of coming back to the 3 at least as my top pick. And I did think the number 9 is an interesting horse, Cara.
Yes, absolutely.
And I thought the works coming into this race for that horse looked particularly good.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yep. You got a bullet 5 furlong minute flat work on May 16th. And then you get a 2 out of 10, 59 and 4, 5 furlong work on May 24th. And again, this horse should represent some early speed and should be sitting a pretty decent trip and gets Kimura. Because she's coming back from Santa Anita. Yeah, exactly. Hard to beat that. So
only hitting 28% though. He's struggling. So,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, only 28%. So but we got some other people here in the chat. I know Bobby D's going he's going to go with 7 over the 139. So we already talked about the 3 and the 9. The 7 was a horse I did have there, Zana. At 3-1 on the morning line, ran well first time out, did nothing wrong. Ran a pretty even, flashed a little early speed and then faded back to 4th in debut. It's had some nice works coming back. My concern was coming off of a long layoff of 180 days plus. Armada is over 21.
Yes,
and is not great coming off a long layoff.
Yes.
So we'll see. There is good turf pedigree there, and the distance of only going 5 furlongs might help rather than the 5.5 into the debut.
Yeah. Especially speed. Yeah.
So definitely something like there. And then the other one, I'm trying to see if there was a price that I liked in this race. Oh yeah, it was the I liked the 6 a little bit at a price.
Yeah. Okay.
And get out the vote.
Yeah, the vote. Johnny Campos.
Johnny Campos. What I liked about this one is it had a workout over the turf course.
Yes.
I always like to see that for horses in debut, and it was a nice, crisp 48-1 4 furlong work over the turf last time out. So I like that. The trainer has never won on turf first time out, but there's good pedigree.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is a horse that I would very much so like to use underneath. I don't necessarily view this one as a win threat, but definitely like this horse underneath if you can get a little bit of a price. So
yeah, absolutely. Nick is a very solid trainer up there.
Yeah. So. But right now the board is 15 minutes to post still, and Star Candy at 5-2. And Cara, the number 9 is at 3-1. Zana, the number 7 at 5-1. Yorkshire, the number 5 is at 7-1.
Yes.
And Get Out to Vote, who I just mentioned, is 10-1 still. And then the inside horse, Top of the Morning, is 5-1. So with Emma Jane and for Theranos. So,
and for the 5 fans, Shelley's already had a first time starter win this year. So at least she's on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at least she can do that.
Yeah, the one thing I wasn't. I dug into the Dam pedigree because I always like to look at Dam pedigree for first-time starters. The Dam is 0 for 3 with first-time out starters, and has actually
I think this one's going to need one.
I think so too.
I wrote down. We'll need one.
Yep. And the other thing is 0 for 3 with first-time out starters and has never yielded a turf sprint winner. I think this horse needs one and needs to get stretched out for the 5. And I think the 5 has a nice future on the turf, but I just don't know if
Yeah,
it's
no, I look for him a mile and up, and he
Yep.
will be. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Totally agreed. Totally agreed. And the works also don't suggest a lot of speed. Like
Yes,
when you look at the works, 39 and 3, I think 3 furlong work, it's not, you're not seeing a lot of bullets there. And,
yeah.
we talked, there's a lot of speed in this race. And out of
There is a lot of speed.
for
Yeah,
5 furlong, there's got to be a lot of speed. So, I'm not, I'm not too confident necessarily in that 5. I think that one might be a horse to use next time out.
yes,
But yeah, I think this one is, like I said, kind of an interesting race, but a very formful race. I mean, it does feel
yes,
like the 3, the
yes.
7, and the 9 all make a lot of sense.
Absolutely. Those were my exact top three picks. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then everyone will always use the Emma Jane William Thoreno's combination on the 1.
Yeah.
They will always use that, and they do great together. I can't argue with the success. But I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's Gulfstream or there, they find a way to win. But
Yeah.
I do not like horses starting first time on the rail.
I hate it, especially in a sprint. I
Yeah,
really don't like
exactly.
it.
Just is
Yeah.
not the place to start. Exactly. You got to be a super horse to,
Yeah.
and that's not where I like to play.
Here's my notes on the 1. I'm verbatim. Dam is 0 for 3 with first timers and 0 for 8 in turf sprints. Rail auto toss. That is my that's kind of my thoughts on the 1. I just there are certain things I'm just not going to play, and I'm just not going to play a maiden debut sprinting on the rail. I just unless it's unless it's like a flight line or something like that, maybe. But I have a hard time getting on this one.
Yeah, and not to the same success level clearly, but I always call Giant Gizmo the Uncle Mo of like Canada. He has his babies everywhere. There's a Giant Gizmo in like every race. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
he's like
absolutely, absolutely. So the Brett's asking about any love on the 2. The 2's making a class jump up. It's gone from that maiden claimer and even a state restricted maiden claimer in New York, and now is jumping up to maiden special weight. There are some nice works there.
Tony, I've actually known Tony for a couple of years, and ironically, Tony is the nephew of the 6, Nick Naxwin goes.
Oh yeah,
uncle. Yeah, exactly. So Tony usually, to mind, usually needs 1. You know what I'm saying? Usually gives them 1 or whatever. He just got this horse from Mark Hennig. Obviously, very nice workouts, and he can jump at a bomb. Exactly. I know his superstar Ellen Vanden won her first race at 38-1. So I mean, so he's been known to light up the toe board. But this horse he's climbing. You know what I'm saying? He's exactly. So
he's climbing, and Vivas has done a very nice job as an apprentice jockey up there.
If she gets lethal, hey, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
She's doing well. I thought this horse. I just saw the class tick up, and I just thought, the speed figures just really don't match up with a horse like the 3. No. And I thought, maybe underneath, but the horse is taking a little bit of money. I mean, the horse has gone from 20-1 down to 9-1 . So there's a little bit of interest for sure.
People know the lore of bombing horses out. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. So always have to look at them.
Exactly. So, we still got about 10 minutes to post there. But listen, let's take a break from Woodbine for 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. And Sean, what are your thoughts? We got the Belmont Stakes coming up in, what is that, about 8 days?
Yes.
And 9
Very
days. And just curious, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, we look at the field now. We see kind of the big 3 of Forte, Angel of Empire, Tapatrice, but we got some nice horses like Arcangelo and Hit Show, and obviously the Preakness winner, National Treasure. Interested if you had any thoughts about Belmont at this point, or kind of where you might be leaning in the battle.
Yeah, I'm still. I have to believe this is in my heart. I know I've loved them since like day one, but I really truly believe that if Todd had it right, and that he almost would have saved Tabatrice just for the Belmont. You know what I'm saying? I think this was his goal for this horse. I mean, obviously you want to win the Derby, but I just think and that he said, "I want to win the Belmont." The way this
Yep.
horse, right? He just seems like the ultimate grinder. Like, when you
Yeah.
think of a creator, you think of all those tappets that won
Yeah.
tonalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just grind. They
Yep.
just it's not pretty, it's not, but it's just poetry in motion. It just
Yeah.
grind, 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 grind. And that's what that horse does. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
he just fits the Belmont profile like to a T. You know what I'm
He
saying?
does. He does.
So to me, he's the horse to beat. I really think Todd, exactly. Like, obviously the question mark is how good is Forte? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
is he, obviously, if he can do it, he can be the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I really believe that because there was question, they even said that they were going to bring Forte to the Saratoga and just not even
right. There was initial discussion that
right.
if he missed the Preakness, they were just going to go straight to the Jim Dandy.
And I think that's because Todd really likes Trice for the Belmont. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to run him against them,
yep.
that even said to me even more, okay, Todd really likes Trice for the Belmont,
Yeah.
So is that.
No, absolutely. And I think Rapole wants Forte in the Belmont. I mean, that's, know, he's a New York guy. He wants to, that's his track. I mean, Mo Donegal last year. And my biggest issue with Forte is I just don't know about the pedigree going 12 furlongs.
Sure. I mean, that's the other thing. Right.
The violence, I was even a little worried about the Kentucky Derby with him going 10 and now you're taking him 12. And I'm just like, now there's not going to be a ton of pace in this race. National Treasure should largely be able to walk the dog up front. But,
I will say he will not walk it, hopefully, like the Preakness, though. Is that
not for as long? Not for as long, I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm hoping. Plus, I have questions on him from a mile and a half.
Oh, I do too. I liked him. It's funny. He's a horse I was very high on as a 2-year-old, and I kind of stuck with him and through thick and thin. And I finally cashed, but it was he's a horse I always liked at a mile and a quarter.
Yes.
And I thought, mile 3/16, mile and a quarter.
Yeah, sure.
Felt like a Derby and Preakness horse to me. Never felt like a Belmont horse. And the other thing that you have to consider is he's going to have to hold off waves of challengers because there's going to be a horse. I think a horse like Archangelo or Hit Show is going to be kind of stalking, and that they're going to be the first ones to get the jump on him and kind of push. And then you get Forte, then you get Angel of Empire, then you get Tapatrice kind of running at him.
You get that second wave.
It's not just you got to withstand 2 waves of very good horses coming at you. That's a tough task for any horse to do. And now he's coming back in 3 weeks rest, and this is a horse that had only run twice in 2023 prior to the Preakness. So there's definitely some questions there. And Jess said she could see Forte having the lead actually coming into the stretch. I think this is the great question with Forte is what type of trip is he going to sit? Because
that's a great question.
It is, because when I was at the Florida Derby and he had that far outside post, I just assumed that they were going to take back and try to save ground and tuck in. And Irad made it very clear that they tried to gun for the lead initially out of that 11 post and try to get up to the front, and it just wasn't happening. And so then they kind of went to plan B and tucked in, and then he made that huge run to win. But so he's a versatile horse that can sit a few different types of trips. It'll be interesting. I see Marla here thinks Hit Show's a little bit of a threat. Hit Show ran a hell of a Kentucky Derby. Ran 5th place that day. He just I mentioned it on the preview of the spotlight we did on him. He just runs his race every time. Like he's not super flashy, but he doesn't turn in bad efforts either. Like he just kind of keeps running his race. So it is it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this one as we get closer to it. We got a ton of content here on Trust the Process for the Belmont, so make sure to check it out. And we got kind of individual spotlight series on all these different horses. And obviously we'll be doing Colin's got Doubling Down, and I'll be doing Capping the Card. Just confirmed David Aragona is going to be joining me next week.
The best.
Absolutely. The best morning line maker.
The best morning line person, bar none, in the country.
By a mile, yes. And he is great. And so David's going to be joining me for I think the think he's going to join me for a late pick 5 stakes preview. I think he's the all
Oh,
stakes pick
wonderful.
5 preview
Yeah.
on Belmont Day. So that'll be a lot of fun to get
Wonderful.
him in there. So that should be a good time. So,
Oh,
well, listen,
great.
let's head back to Woodbine
Yes.
here. We took a little detour to
No,
Elmont,
yeah, absolutely.
New
Yes.
York,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
listen, Cara still your favorite at 9-5,
Yes. The
and
Kimura fans out in full. Exactly.
absolutely out in full force. And obviously, Kazushi had a huge Santa Anita meet. I mean, had some big wins out there, including a grade 1. And so, it was awesome
He
to see him
did.
do so well out
Yes.
there at Santa Anita.
And he is the nicest kid you will ever meet,
He
too.
certainly seems it. He really
Oh, man,
does.
he's as
Yeah.
humble as you would swear that he'd never won a race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the real deal. He really is. He's a great friend.
And he seems like a super nice guy. I know he's a guy who puts in a lot of work. He works out horses in the morning out at Santa Anita, I know, and really, tries to, does things the right way, and has a great work ethic. I know everybody who knows him really has the highest respect for him. So,
Yes.
obviously a lot of respect on the board for Cara, who is coming off of 4th place in a state restricted stakes race last year at Woodbine at 7 furlongs.
Yes.
So some
that
things
was
like
against an Ancient Spirit, who was a very good one, and Friends for Life. So those are 2 very good horses that he was
absolutely. And ran that 63 speed figure, which is the best in the field.
Yes,
so
by far,
just looking at that, is the best in the field. But with these younger horses, there's always progression. So Sean, we got 3 minutes to post. So where are you going with your bet here in race number 6?
You know what? I'm not going to go over bet. I'm going to just go 379 and just try to,
You want to exacta box it on the 379?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're going to do exacta box on the 379. We're not going to overthink this thing.
No.
And I don't blame you. So we are exacta box on the 3, the 7, and the 9. And the 3 is at 5-2. The 7 is at 6-1, and the 9 is at 2-1 currently. $6 bet for $1 base, and that is placed. So we are going exacta box for the 3, 7, and 9. So that's what the official bet of Trust the Profits is for this one. But drop in the chat what your bet is. And so I know, Dennis, I agree with you, man. 6-1 on the 7 is really nice. That's a really good price on that horse. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But let us know where you're going in this one, and how you're going to be approaching this race from a betting standpoint. We got a minute to post, and they are starting to make their way toward the gate, slowly but surely. And but it's interesting, we still, again, if you look at the will pays, the 3 is going to be the overwhelming favorite here, but right now it's not that case. And now you're starting to see it flip a little bit. Now they're both 2-1. So you're starting to see that change. But we'll see here. But like I said, let us know in the chat where you're going. I know, Brett, you got the exacta 3-7 over the 3-7-2-9. So pretty similar to where we're going in this one as well. So good luck to you, Brett, on that play as well. So hope everybody is able to hit their bets in this race. So and Jeff, listen, he really likes the 3 here as well. I agree. Just no bad efforts really. For that 3, it makes, I think, a ton of sense, and is, like I said, starting to attract some of that money. Both the 3 and the 9 are at 2-1, and they're starting to get them loaded in. So let's pull that up there, and we'll they're loading in the 1 now. So top of the morning to you.
I joke with Jordan. Jordan's the agent for KK, Declan, and Sophia. And I joke with him. I said, hey, your guys becoming like Irad at Gulfstream. They'll just bet them on anything.
Don't you know it? Irad at Gulfstream. By the way, we should give Jose a ton of credit. Jose at Belmont is crushing right now.
Huge.
29% winning, 60% plus in the money, huge ROI return. And so Jose is just, he is absolutely rolling right now.
He is doing fantastic
at Belmont. So, and I would say Jose on the turf in New York is like a different I swear he just runs different there than he does everywhere
He
else on the
does.
turf.
Absolutely does. Yeah.
So it's like he just knows what he wants to do there and has a much better plan.
It's his home. Yep.
Yeah, but now we're starting to see that money coming in on the 3, now down to 8-5 favorite. The 9 is staying stationary at 2-1. Your 7 is at 5-1.
5. Yeah.
And again, we're on the 3-7-9 exacta box. So we will see how that ends up playing up. But they're loading in the 9 there for this 6 race on the turf, the inner turf, 5 furlongs for maidens, and they're off. The 1, a little bit of a slow start from the rail that we were a little worried about, but the 2, Summer Snow, just guns it up to the front.
That's Tony.
Nice start there. And the 9 coming over and joining him. So it's going to be Summer Snow and Karakara there going into the turn. And Kazushi gets Karakara with a little bit of a head in front. The 7, Zaina, is about 3 lengths back. And then the 3, Star Candy, is a little further back from that. But they're a pretty strung out field of probably about 10 lengths from front to back. But Karakara up there on the front end as they're starting to make their way around the turn. Now you start to see both Zaina and Star Candy starting to make a move. Star Candy on the inside is starting to get cut off a little bit, but is able to cut through and now strikes to the lead. And here comes the 3 like a freight train. Here comes the 7 as well. Zaina, if we get that 7 up for second, that would be ideal. And it is going to be Star Candy over Zaina to win that one. The 6 came running late. Get out to vote for a little bit of a price of 21-1 to conclude the trifecta. But hey, we got a winner there. All right.
Got a winner. Yeah.
Got a winner. We'll see what it pays here in a little bit, but that one's set up pretty nicely for the 3, I thought. He made, Patrick made a good job adjusting, getting close enough so he didn't have to make a huge run and was able to scoot in on the inside. The rail was open there coming for home. So
I'm surprised our exacta pays $8 for $1. I thought it was just paying 13. It was so someone
someone hammered because Star Candy ended up going off at 3-2. And then Zaina ended up going off at 5-1. So at least we made a little bit of money.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. That's you want to get from race to race, we
made a little bit. So that's the key. Made a little bit. So we spent 6, we'll make 8. Hey, we're up 2 for that one. So not bad, but
I'm sure Patrick's eyes bugged out when he saw Tony's horse absolutely gunning it with the 9, trying to I'm sure he just said, okay, this is exactly the setup I want. You two just go and boom.
Yep, exactly. And it's interesting that that 2 does have some early speed, but I mean, just fades every single time. Now, didn't fade quite as badly there. I will say, I mean, I think maybe hung on for 5th, maybe, and was a horse taking a step up in class as well. So, and all things considered, not a bad effort, but it's interesting. He still shot out to the lead, considering they took the blinkers off. And so sometimes you might want a horse to sit a little bit more in that instance and that sort of thing. But, that one felt very formful. Star Candy felt like a very tough horse to get by in that race. So, and it came up certainly very formful with the 3 over the 7. The 6, who I mentioned as a horse that I really like the turf work leading up, came running there for the end. And I said, I'd use the horse underneath, and, he ended up getting a piece for 3rd. So that was good. To see that. And then the 9, I think, ended up fading a little bit to 4th by the end.
Campos is an interesting rider. He was the champion rider in Mexico. And has now made his way up for his 2nd year to Woodbine. He's done it. He got there a little bit late, but he's doing pretty solid, getting some horses in, wins and the money. So he'll catch up. He's a talented rider.
Absolutely. And the formula checking in. Good to see Thomas checking in there.
Hey,
we hit the exacta box. That's what it's all about. So let us know if you cashed on your tickets. I think a couple people did. I think Brett. Brett got in on his ticket. So I know he hit his with the 3-7. So that's good. So hope people are cashing a little bit. We just hit our first ticket of the day. Might not have paid huge, but it paid. And that is the key. Turn in a little profit. So we're only down, I think we're only down like $10 for the day then. So,
Yep.
we still got plenty
It's
left. We
early.
got
Plenty of time.
$40 in
Yeah.
2 races. We can go hog wild these last 2 if we want to.
Amen.
So having a lot of fun here. And so now we're going to move over to race number 7.
7, yes.
And this is a 5 furlong claimer, $25,000 claimer on the synth, on the all weather, going 5 furlongs. And this is a little bit of an interesting field, I thought. And I thought there may be some prices in here that were a little intriguing, but we'll talk about that one in a second. I do want to, I don't know if you're playing. I mean, I know you and I are playing Stable Duel, but if anybody out there is playing Stable Duel,
let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, let us know how we're doing. I'm currently sitting 24th, and which I'm not sure how that happened, but somehow I'm sitting 24th.
I like it. There you go.
And you're sitting in 5th. You're doing great.
Yes.
You're sitting 5, and you had Star Candy there, so that you're doing well.
Yeah.
I also had Star Candy, so I should be moving up a little bit.
Yes, you should. Yeah, absolutely.
So I had Star Candy there as well. So should be moving up there a little bit. Star Candy was a pretty popular horse, used by 51% of entrants today. So that was one. A lot of people saw it the same way we did with that one. But we'll end up moving up a little bit there with that winner. But obviously, I still have a few plays left. I think I still have 3 horses left in both. Yeah, because I went 7. I went 2 in the 7th and 1 in the 8th.
Look at Jessica sitting in 20th, right there like a shark, right on the outside. Just
exactly.
Strike.
And she's got the winner in this last race too. That exacta turned everything around for her. I tell you, she hit that exacta, that 4.8 in the race before. Now she's sitting right there.
She's right there.
So she's launching, baby. And so, listen, if you're not in the action on Stable Duel, I don't know what to tell you. You got to get in on Stable Duel because it is. I think it's the best way. It's the most fun way to play. I think a weekday type of a game.
Me too. Yeah.
Where if I'm not paying attention to a race like we are today, if I'm just sitting there and have 20 minutes to handicap a race or a card, I should say, I love playing Stable Duel because it's an inexpensive way of playing an entire card for $5 basically, and you can win $100+ And so it's like I said, it's a lot of fun. Get in the game there on Stable Duel. It's a free app. They're free games. You don't even have to play money. You can just you'll pay money. There's a ton of $low games as well. $3 contests, $5 contests. So if you just want to put $20 in to start and play a little bit, a lot of fun. Brett, you're playing. You're in 49th right now. So I got to follow you now. Now that I know where you are, I got to follow you. On Stable Duel. That's one of the cool things you can do is follow your friends.
49th. I'm going to follow
your Java Alive. All right, there we go. We're following it. And hey, you're right behind El Hombre. So pretty good. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Jessica, we all need the last couple. So that's the way we are coming down the stretch. It's like, come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
I just need 1 or 2 more. So going to be a lot of fun. But listen, want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us today. This is a lot of fun. We're going to be staying with you through the final race on the card tonight. We got 2 more coming at Woodbine. If you haven't pressed that like button on YouTube, make sure to do that right away. Make sure to subscribe to what we're doing on Trust the Profits. Tons of different content.
Amazing content.
Monday nights at Assiniboia Downs. We're going to be doing live streams. Thursday night, El Hombre's got the live streams. In between, though, I mean, handicapping, horse racing news, graded stakes previews, guests from across the industry. We got it all. So make sure to press that subscribe button if you haven't already. Sean, race number 7.
Yes.
Where are you going, my friend? Where are you going with this one? This is an interesting race, I think.
Yes. I'm on the Armada family Leo Salas train today. I love it. This is interesting. They haven't let me down yet so far. Okay. But I really like Forrester's Turn again. I loved the last race coming off the second race off the layoff. The first one was a little bit tough. They're running against Cotton and those guys. Drops down to the 25. Much better effort. Up for third. Leo knows this horse very well. Third, second. When he runs on this horse, he seems to know this horse pretty well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, he just looked to me like the kind of third off the layoff. I think this is where this horse strikes. So that was my first top pick.
Yeah.
In both Stable Duel and this. Yeah.
Yep. No, there definitely makes a lot of sense. And just to put a period on race number 6, the exacta did pay $8.95. So we are we're hanging out $40 basically still for the day. So we're doing well. And yeah, so it's funny. My notes were very similar to what you said. 4 second place finishes since the last win. Third back in the form cycle. Certainly improving speed figures from that first time out to second time out. 4 for 7 in the exacta at this distance, and definitely a lot of things to like there for sure. I also took a look at the horse, the number 4, Reserve Not Attained.
Yes.
For Kimura. Yes. And this is one you would imagine is also going to be pretty forwardly placed early in, which is where you typically want to be. Martin Dexler is 35% for the meet.
Oh, yeah.
It's just obscene. And it's just winning everything that's not nailed
whenever
down.
KK joins them for the party, it's usually a very successful one.
Yeah, 27% when those two meet up, hook up. And, this is one, and Sean, I'm interested. You mentioned this a little bit earlier. This is one coming up from Gulfstream Park.
Yes.
And you mentioned it's not always as easy as just, they're coming up from Gulfstream Park and therefore they're going to win. Yeah. I didn't know, obviously, what have you seen in terms of that transition from the Tapeta at Gulfstream to the Tapeta at Woodbine? Is the form pretty similar? I mean, do they keep the same form, or is there an adjustment period sometimes?
No, it's worked. There's a lot of them have, obviously, especially in the first couple of weeks, really when the horse is really just first coming back, the Gulfstream form and the Turfway form was holding up because the horses had run,
Yeah.
Like, I know this is Doug McPherson's like best bet of the day. What do you call it? And his speed figures they're right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, so obviously now the Gulfstream Tapeta is a little bit different than the Woodbine. You know what I mean? So, so I wouldn't automatically say just because you ran well in South Florida, you're going to run well at Woodbine. You know what I'm saying? But, exactly. This horse is right there. You know what I'm saying? He is. Like,
What impressed me about him was he won off the layoff.
Yes.
So this is a horse that was off from January 29th to April 7th and comes back and runs a really nice race, runs a 78 buyer and really battles too, kind of loses the lead and comes back to win.
He was way out too. Yeah, he was way out too and still re-rallied.
Exactly. Re-rallied and managed to get the win that day. I thought that was particularly impressive. And, you go back and you look at where this horse was running, last year. And then this horse had, some layoffs. But you look at where this horse was running in spring of 2022 as well. And, the figures definitely fit. I mean, you see why people feel pretty confident in this one. And we should mention early on, currently the 3-5 favorite right now. So taking a ton of money there in this one. So, the 4 is kind of where I kind of went initially in this race.
Sure. Yeah.
But the 3 I thought was also a little bit interesting as a horse that's also third back in the form cycle.
The second Armada.
Yeah, the second Armada. We're on the Armadas today. And again, kind of
very formful.
Very formful. And this is 24 for 39 in the money in his career. I mean, that's a pretty impressive legacy to have. And as I pointed out, this is a horse that's largely been running in claimers and optional claimers, and he's made almost $250,000 in his career. I mean, this is a horse that just cashes checks.
The horse he lost to, Downey Boys, won like 9-10 races. So he was running against some hard knocking horses there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
the other thing I got to say just quickly about the 4. Okay,
please.
This is notorious. Now it depends on where you are at Woodbine. Some people love him. Some Bruno Chicken Dance is like the peddler of he buys more horses and claims more horses than probably any owner in North America.
Gotcha.
I mean, all he does is his dad was Gustav Chicken Dance, and exactly, and he just goes around and just buys horses to win races. That's all he does. He's at Penn. He's at Gulfstream. He's at Santa Anita. He's everywhere. Oak Lawn, it doesn't matter. Bruno's everywhere. So exactly. So Bruno's and Martin's his main man, exactly. So
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's and then the other horse that I took a little bit of a look at was the 7, Sunspear at a little bit bigger
Oh,
of a price,
yep, yep.
at 12-1. This has got Emma
Yeah,
Jane on the
Emma and Ian. Yeah.
Emma and Ian, and there again, second back from the layoff.
Yep.
Um, I think this horse, should take a step forward. And what really gave me confidence was this is a horse, if you go and look last year,
Yes.
second back from the layoff might have been
Yeah.
this horse's best career effort in a stakes
Absolutely.
race, running
Yeah.
an 80 buyer speed figure. Again, if you can see that same sort of progression second back,
Yes.
at a big price underneath, I think I would be interested in this one a little bit. So the 7 Sunspear is one that I took a look at, but I see some people in here. I know Jeff's got the 2-3 exacta,
Yeah.
so he certainly likes that too, as well, that you mentioned, in the 3 Western Trouble that I
Mm.
talked about a little bit. So
Mm.
he's going with the straight up Armada exacta. So that's
Yeah.
what he's going with.
Yeah.
Uh, and before Thomas likes that 7 a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about winning, but I like using that horse in there somewhere.
Yes.
Uh,
Absolutely.
and Tim May, who by the way uh, won the commenter award of the night on Monday
Yes.
night at Assiniboia, when the horse, and thank God everybody's okay, so we can kind
Yes.
of make
Yes.
light of this.
Yes.
But the horse broke through the gate before the race started and hopped over the infield
Yes.
fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Tim said the horse clearly just wanted to run on the turf, and that's a great comment.
The best
And
lines. That was great.
one of the better nights. But Tim is back. I appreciate Tim being in the chat and hanging out in the lounge. He's going trifecta 4-6 over 2-3, 4-6-7 overall. So that 4 is it's certainly a tough one to get around, I think, in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, and then the 6 is Dragon's Brew. That's a horse that, I mean, ran some huge speed figures last year.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Didn't run much in debut,
No.
but now you're cutting back a little bit
Yeah.
and second back, and there's some things to make sense. One of the things that I was a little worried about was Robert Tiller's he's 0 for 16 second back from the layoff
Yes. Yeah.
over the last year. So I was a
Right.
little
Yeah.
concerning that there's not a lot of success there in the barn. But and the horse also didn't run particularly well second time back last year. So
Yeah. No. Right. Right. Right.
with Fukumoto aboard. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But 8-1, you're getting a little bit of a price.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
currently Dragon's Brew is taking a little bit of money, is at 5-1 right now. So I mean, this horse does have some races to run back to.
And
For
ironic,
sure.
the only time he ran at this distance, he won. So I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you could say this horse just needs 5 furlongs.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, but that's where it's interesting. I think there's some interesting contenders here. This feels,
Yes.
Sean, like you just said, you could go 5 deep in some of these.
You could.
And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, I know. Jess just said she thought the 3 was the most reliable horse in here.
Yep.
That's who she ended up using on the stable duel. The favorite deserves favoritism, but she feels like 4-5 currently is too short.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I get it. 4-5 is that is a short price for
Yeah.
for that horse.
Mhm.
But I am glad the 4, even though he's shipping up from Gulfstream, I am glad that the 4 at the very least is got to work in over the all-weather surface
Yeah. Yeah.
at Woodbine. So I'm glad that he at least got to work in a couple of works in actually over that since the last race, actually several. So he's been able to work over the surface, and presumably Martin has been able to see him work over that surface and get a sense of what this horse is capable of doing here, and slotting this horse in. And I mean, you could also say this horse is making a slight class jump. I mean, he was claiming 16 last time out.
Sure.
And now
Yeah.
he's like 5.
Yeah.
So there might be some reason to suggest this horse, maybe 4-5, as Jessica mentioned, might be a little too short of a price.
Sure.
And
And you also have on the rail the other Bruno Chicken Dance entrant, exactly, for his other boy, Norm McKnight. So you have the two. You have Norman Martin, the present and future, of Woodbine there in the last 10 years. But
and that's a horse that's taken a class drop as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Western Trouble, who came in second in that same race, he was fourth closing, versus Better, you know what I mean? So as that, and Declan jumps aboard, so.
You look, the last time this horse, now granted it was at Oaklawn, so you got to take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But last time this horse ran 6 furlongs and a $25,000 claim,
he killed him. Yeah,
ran a hole in the wind. I mean, ran by far the best race of his career.
Yeah,
my concern,
look at that last workout. Yeah,
the last workout, 46 and 3, 4 furlong, and somehow wasn't even the bullet. And certainly is getting him ready. But my concern with him is he's not shown it on the all weather yet. He shipped
exactly. Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
halfway through last year.
No, they weren't good. Yeah,
they weren't great. And I mean, maybe you could excuse the first one. The second one was a little bit better, but still isn't going to get the job done today from a speed figure standpoint. And then maybe you go the third one, something went wrong. And this horse, obviously the notes just said kind of stopped. So, I don't know, maybe the horse bled, maybe the horse just, something went wrong, because clearly he went to the bench from August until now. So, we'll have to see. But, I was a little concerned he hadn't taken to the scent quite as much as I would have wanted.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah. And, let's see what we got. We got, Jeff really likes the 2 is second off a long layoff, is cycling up, 5-time winner here. 3 is 12 for 26, first or second here. Yeah. For sure. And I think, that's from a betting standpoint, this is one of the more challenging things in this race. Although the way things look now, it's interesting. Based on the morning line, it looked one way, but the way it looks now, the 4 is even money.
Yeah.
And now you look, the 3, who we all kind of like, is at 10 to 1. Your 2's at 7 to 1. Suddenly those are really nice prices. The 7, who I think is interesting, is at 8 to 1. So everybody's floated up a little bit. I mean, Sunstar is actually taking a little bit of money, but that 2 and 3 horse have really floated up. So that's an interesting one where, do you just take your shot with a win bet or a win price bet on one of those to see? So I'll have to take a look at the will pays a little bit.
Absolutely.
Get a sense of where we're going to end up there. So it looks like it looks like you're going to really get a price on this 3. And you're going to get a decent price on the 2 as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm trying to think how I want to formulate a bet here.
Sure.
We got 5 minutes to post. So, I do think that 1 makes a lot of sense, and is going to be tough to get around, but there's some value on the board now.
There is. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, and this one, I don't know. I mean, this one there's a lot of speed in here. You figure, certainly, the 4 is kind of the speed of the speed, but you figure the 5 is going to probably flash a little bit of speed as well. The 7 should probably sit just off of that along with the 6. So they shouldn't be too far off. And then, the 7 and then the 2 shouldn't be too far. And then you figure the 3 and the 1 are going to be kind of sitting there kind of mid pack. But, I think that's also why a lot of people like that 4 is the 4 is just the speed of the speed on paper.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And, a lot of times in sprints, you just go with the speed of the speed.
Yeah. And KK's so good at getting horses out,
Yeah.
He's so good at it,
Yeah. Well, we just saw it with Cara. He can get those horses to the lead
very easily.
Pretty easily.
Yeah.
So, Cara obviously faded a little bit, Jeff saying, listen, 4 going for 3 of 4 and stepping up a little bit doesn't appeal to me. I get it. It's a short price. King Sports Picks is doing a try of 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3 over all. I think that's kind of an interesting use, but certainly the 2 and the 3 are providing great value right now.
Yeah. And I can see someone, by the way, saying, right, like I know a couple of weeks ago there was KK was on the 1 to 5 Wesley Ward, and he was coming up from Turfway, right? Yeah. And I said, well, okay, just because the horse ran well at Turfway doesn't mean he's going to run well at Woodbine. And he was
Yep.
1-5. Horse came in 5th. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And everyone's like, oh, we're just going to bet him 1-9 because Wesley Ward and he's running Turfway. And, just because you run on one poly track, the Woodbine one, like a lot of the Woodbine horses have real trouble at Turfway. They do not run well at Turfway. Like some, exactly, which is interesting, Yep. Mark Cossey had a few of them that would win every race at Woodbine, but by God, if they go down Turfway, they come in 6th every time. They just didn't like that track. So, what I mean? So I can see where someone would say, okay, just because you ran well at Gulfstream doesn't mean you run at Woodbine. I could see that,
Yep. No, for sure. I could see that as well. So, as we're getting closer to post, I'm working on some potential bets here. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to swing. We're going to take a little bit of a swing. Well, I shouldn't say we're going to take a swing because I'm going to use the 4.
Sure.
But we're going to do a straight up exacta.
Love it.
4 over 2-3.
I love it.
And it's going to be a $5 bet amount. It's a $2 bet now. So it's going to be a $10 bet. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do 4 over 2-3. And we're just going to do straight exacta there. So that one is in. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to do $10 EX 4 over 2-3. So that's the official bet there in race number 7 for Trust the Profits. We got $40 right now we started with 50. We got 40. Sean brought us back a little bit last race. Let's hope we can bring a little bit more back in this race. But we got 2 minutes to post here, and they're on the track, obviously, and making their way around. But
I'm shocked that Dragon's Brew is the second favorite right now. I would not have pegged that.
I'm a little surprised by that too. I mean, he was a horse I definitely looked at, and I thought second back. You're assuming he feels like a horse. If you look at his past performances, he feels like a horse that just gets better as the year goes on.
Yes. Yep.
And he's not a horse that necessarily jumps out at me as a great horse second or third time out necessarily. It's like he needs to run into shape a little bit, I think. So, he's had some success at this 25 level for sure, but he's only got one win there. So, and that was if you want to talk about anomalies, that was a statistical anomaly performance. That 87 buyer that he had last or 2 times out ago in December of 22.
Sure.
And he never got close to running that race again. I mean, I just, and the trainer's 0 for 16 second off the bench. The horse hasn't run well second off the bench. So I don't know. That's surprising to me that he's at that price, but 9-2, we'll see. But we're going to get them here as they get a little bit closer. We got 0 minutes to post, so it's post time. They're moving up to the gates and starting to get loaded.
By the way, if anyone's watching Woodbine this weekend, a fabulous race. Moira makes her return this weekend with KK aboard versus
that's great.
Versus our friends Catherine Day Phillips' sister Siegel, who won the second leg last year. So the two of them meet, and they came in first and second last year versus each other. So this is
I love it.
The rematch. So this is
that's great. That's great.
Race. Yeah,
that is absolutely going to be a fun race. And after this race, I'm going to tell you about a fun race on Monday night at Assiniboia too.
Yes,
the 4 has gotten hit hard again. It's down to 3-5, but we're really hoping for the 3 here. Actually, the 3 is staying at 13-1. Which I don't really get because that 3 does feel really solid to me. I know Jessica liked it too.
Absolutely.
And the 7 is at 7-1. The 2 is at 8-1. The 1 on the rail is at 5-1. So we're going to see how it ends up going. But they are working with the 4, getting the 4 in there. And I mean the win pool money. I mean it's crazy when you see it up on the graphic. I mean the 4's got 4 times as much money as anybody else in the win pool.
The Doug McPherson factor coming in big time. Is that?
Yeah. So it does look like they're working on this 4 a little bit to get them in, but now it looks like they're getting a little bit closer to getting that 4 ready to go as they're turning the 5 around out. 4 does not want to get in the gate. Is not a big fan of this. And so we are working on it now. The 4, of course, as soon as they put the camera on the 4, 4 walks in like
exactly.
Yeah, 4 walks in like it's no problem at all.
Get my good side. Get my good side.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just prances on it, no problem. So they're loading them in. Dragon's Brew is loaded in. Only one left to load, which is Sun Spear. And he's got a nice little haircut, actually. I kind of like on his hindquarter. But anyway, they are about to go to post here, and they're off. A little bit of a slow start there for the two. Forrester's turn. Very nice start on the inside rail for Happy Mac, who goes out to the lead, followed closely by Reserved Not Attained, the number 4, and the 5, Jack's Beanstalk, also on the outside. But going into that first turn, it is going to be Happy Mac on the inside rail with the lead. The favorite, Reserve Not Attained, glued to his outside. They're going around the turn. They did the opening quarter in 23 and 3, or 22 and 3, I should say. And now you see Happy Mac starting to open up about a half length on the number 4, Reserve Not Attained. And they are hitting the top of the stretch. And here they go, hitting the top of the stretch. The 4 starts to make a move and gets to the lead, it looks like, over the 1, but it's going to be a battle. The 6 is making a charge late. The 7 is also making a charge. It does look like this 4 is going to hold on to win, but it's going to be the 4 over the 7 Sun Spear as your exacta, with the 6 Dragon's Brew finishing third. So 4, 7, 6 is the order of finish there. And Reserve Not Attained. Listen, maybe it did not certainly win, maybe like a 3 to 5 shot.
But got
the job done and gutted it out there in the stretch and certainly won. I mentioned the 7, and this is where I always go wrong, Sean. I don't trust myself. And I sit there, I use the 7 on Stable Duel. I like the 7 a lot. And of course, I don't end up using the 7. And part of the reason I didn't use the 7, to be honest, was because the 3 and the 2 had floated up so much in terms of price. And I thought, well, geez, that's, really, but, clearly they floated up for a reason. Some people pointed out that the 3 got a pretty rough trip.
The 2 got a terrible trip on Forrester's turn. Leo just had so much horse and absolutely just got sawed completely off. I mean, that was not even close.
That was a tough one. But listen, Tim got the win there. That's good. That's what we like to see. Good win there for Tim.
Great job, Tim.
Nice work on the try, and that'll pay. That try should actually pay halfway decent.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you got it was 3 to 5, but over 9 to 1, over 6 to 1. So that shouldn't be bad. And Jeff, listen, brother, we've all been there. So have a good night.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming and hanging out. Always appreciate you hanging out here on the chat.
Thanks, Jeff.
Always a lot of fun. So Greg, don't you know it? Trust yourself. This is, and it's funny when I do capping the card, and when I do all of my handicapping shows, especially when I have a guest. First of all, when I handicap, and I never look at anybody else's stuff beforehand. I don't want my head polluted with somebody else's thoughts. And I also don't want to unintentionally plagiarize somebody else's thoughts. When I see it, I go, that's they're the ones who said that. I don't want to, now say it on camera and take and people go, Matthew said, it was somebody else said that. And I want them to get credit for it. And so sometimes that stuff can just seep into you when you consume it. So I never look at anybody's picks ahead of time. And when I have a guest on, like Acacia tomorrow, I always tell them, I go, can you please send me your picks ahead of time so I can put them into the graphics for the show? I never look at their picks before I put them into the graphics, because I always know that if I do that, I'm going to say, well, Acacia really likes this 3, or something like that. I go, well, all right. It's like, well, she really likes the 7 here. Oh, I guess I should probably like that 7. And it's like, no, Matthew, you know what you're talking about. Don't just be persuaded by one person. So, it's one of those things I think we all struggle with sometimes, and you just got to stick firm to your positions and stick firm to your betting options. And one of the things that I will regularly do to force myself to trust myself is I will put all my bets in before the first race for the whole card. And I'll just sit there and be like, I'm putting them all in. And I just put them all in for all 10 races.
Very smart. Great. I love that.
I'm like, I'm not this way. I'm not persuaded by people. I'm not, I'm not persuaded by the odds that might float up or down. Like, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to play it. And, whether it's a pick sequence or whether it's just a straight up, exacta or
Go
win
with
bet,
it. Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do. So it is, yeah, it's one of those things. But listen, we, the 4 got the job done there up
Yeah.
top. The 6 ran well. The 7 ran well. The 6 ran a little bit better than I thought, to be honest.
Yes,
Dragons Brew.
absolutely.
I mean, he
Me
was the
too.
second
Me
choice,
too.
and he ran, or he ended up being the third choice, and he ran kind of third
Yeah.
best there. So, but yeah, the official order of finish was 4, 7, 6, 3. So Western Trouble did end up getting there for 4th, but and Forrester's Turn, yeah, that too did have a pretty rough ride. Going back and looking at that.
I told this last week, Matt, just to let people know. People always ask me, they're like, why does it take Woodbine so long to go official, right? And the reason is they are translating it from Canadian money to American money. So that is why they take longer than the average bear to get it official, because it has to be translated into American money.
Absolutely. So we got we got $30 to play with those in the cocktail lounge for this last race, so we can go big and have some fun with this one.
Yes.
But before we do, I just want to, because we still got 21 minutes to post before race 8. I want to obviously let people know to make sure to tune in on Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and hang out with us on Monday Night Lights, Assiniboia Downs. It's going to be a blast. We've done it the last couple of weeks. Sean joined us for a few races last week. It was so much fun. And we're going to take you from 30 minutes before post, get you ready for the stable duel contest, and then race 1 through 7. We're going to be with you the whole night. It's a lot of fun. We love doing it. And there's a race on Monday. Here's the great part too. I mean, the PPs are already out for Monday. And they're already out with the morning line. Oh my God, you can actually start handicapping, 5 days in advance. What a concept. And so they're already out. And here's the thing, race number 5 on Monday at Assiniboia Downs marks the return of 2 very exciting horses. Kate's Princess, who was a really nice horse up there last year, and everybody's favorite, Mia Bear. Mia Bear is back. We're excited about this big time race up there. So it's a $10,000 optional claimer, but man alive, I'm excited for that one. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you followed Assiniboia last year, you know how good those 2 are.
Oh, absolutely.
They're very, very good horses. So for that track. So Joe, I appreciated you hanging out with us the last couple of weeks. Can't wait for you to hang out with us again on Monday nights. It's a lot of fun. So definitely make sure to hang out with us on those Monday nights. Make sure to press that like button here tonight for this video on YouTube. Definitely helps us spread the word, and make sure to subscribe to Trust the Profits. But listen, let's put a period in the end of that 7th race. Reserved Not Attained gets the win, pays $340. Sunspear finishes second and pays $710 to place. The place bets have been paying phenomenal tonight.
They have.
I think every single race has had like a $7 plus place bet. And Dragon's Brew pays $370 to show. Western Trouble finishes 4th. The Exacta pays $1170 or $1120, I should say, and the Trifecta pays $1276 for the 20-cent try, and the Super pays $52.46 for the 20-cent Super. Daily Double pays only $5.95 because you had a couple of favorites just win those last 2. But listen, we march on to the final race on the card, race 8, maiden optional claimer, basically 50,000, and we're going 5.5 on the all-weather for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, and it is Ontario sired maidens, I should say. So it is a state restricted race for this one. This is a big field of 12. And I think we might have had, maybe, do we have a scratch? Yeah, we had the scratch of the 1. But this is a field of 11. I'm interested. Where did you end up going in this one? Because I feel like you could go a couple of different ways in this race.
I went with the first time starter, the 11, my assistant.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I'm going with a $500 play in the last race. Exactly.
I love
it. A lot of people don't know Teston Holder, and he's a very good trainer. And what do you call it? He's 1 for 8 on the year. 1 for 7. He's off to a solid start. He doesn't always have the best group. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always have a thing, and this has helped me. What do you call it? The other day, I hit my buddy Lane Luzzy at 25-1 in the last
Yeah.
race at Monmouth. Okay.
Absolutely.
This is Gary's only mount. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And he hasn't stuck around you just for ice cream. You know what I'm saying? And I love in these races the jockeys who can get horses out quickly, and no one
Yeah.
gets them out of the gate better than Gary Boulanger.
Yep.
This horse last time scratched at the starting gate because he ran off. So clearly he was excited to run. You know,
a little too excited. Yeah.
Exactly. And he was like 19-1 that day, but he was clearly excited to run. You know, Gary stays with him. You know what I'm saying? And for Gary to stay with him, I thought, and it was ironic that I picked it. And then I looked at McPherson's pick. As you said, I don't look at other people's picks.
Yeah.
And he had him on top. You know, which I was shocked at, you know, because I thought I was getting a needle in the haystack here. Doug said, I said, wow, you know, but what do you call it? But I just saw cross traffic can get horses home early.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I figured for the value, that was the horse, especially for Stable Duel, that I went with.
Interesting. I like it. I mean, I think going with a big price in this last race makes some sense because this does feel very wide open. I mean, you have a horse, like the 4, Helka's Aura, who is, 0 for 16. Now we just saw a horse at Belmont earlier today, who was 0 for 25 and breaks her maiden on the 26th attempt. You always like to see that. By the way, Jared, shout out to you tuning in from South Africa.
Yes.
Absolutely awesome. Love to see that. And and we got 40 people in the lounge. I feel bad that we didn't start at 8. We started at 6. So you're here for the last race though, Woodbine. So let's get ready for this. Exactly. Let's cash in the bailout. But Helka's Aura, is 10-1 in the morning line. Emma Jane aboard.
Yeah.
And this horse does feel like a useful Stable Duel horse at 10-1 in that the horse kind of runs pretty honest, 5 for 16 in the money. The speed figures certainly fit to some extent. I was a little disconcerted by the fact this horse took a step back last time out, which you would have expected to see this horse take maybe a little step forward. And then honestly, outside of that, you look at the horse like 7 Burlap coming back from, again, like a 1.5-year layoff or almost a 2-year layoff. And then really, then you end up going to the 12, the far outside, Humor Me Jim. And that horse obviously ran a huge speed figure last time out, which was first time out in 2023.
Yeah.
It ran a 66, which absolutely towers over everybody else in the field.
Yeah.
Now that was at a maiden optional claiming 25. We're now at a maiden optional claiming 49. So he's stepping up in class a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, if he runs that race again, he's going to win.
Sure.
And there's no doubt about it. I also think it's interesting that Paul Buttigieg is bringing him back on short rest. That they're wheeling him back basically on like 2.5-3 weeks rest.
Absolutely,
which tells me they think let's get him back on the track. He's
alive
right now. He's training well.
Right now. Yeah.
He's in good form. He had a workout in between as well, which was nice. And so, listen, the 12 makes a ton of sense, but I'd imagine is going to get really bet down. So,
and he also owns him. Yeah. So
and so that's one that, like I said, certainly makes a lot of sense. The 8 also scratched Social Drinker.
Yeah, the 8 would have been my clear. 8 would have been my clear pick.
I know that was that's exactly what I had too. I realized that a little too late.
It would have been clear in this race. Yeah,
that was my second pick. I just looked up here because I went 12, 8, 4, 3.
My clear pick. I was bummed.
Yep. I was too. So I was also bummed by that. I will say so just looking at where the money is going in this race, obviously the 12 is taking the money at 2-1 currently. And my assistant is actually floating, taking a little bit 14-1 down a point from the morning line. You look at the 4 is getting hammered, which is what I thought was going to happen. 10-1 morning line now down to 7-2. I don't like that horse.
Remember in Woodbine, there's death, there's taxes, and Emma winning the last race. That is the MO up there for the last 10 years.
and I tell you, if you look at the daily double will pays, this 4 is going to go off as the second choice.
Oh yeah, people love Emma in the
yeah.
last race. They love her.
Absolutely. No, you gotta have somebody to trust in the bailout. And so the 10 also looks like he might be end up taking a lot of money. Not a lost cause. And at least in the pick threes, is paying really low. So that's going to be interesting to kind of keep track. But in the double, he's not. So anyway, that's kind of interesting. But the 2 is also going to end up taking. It's interesting in the daily double. The 2 actually is going to take a ton. As well. So
and that's Drexler Kimura. So I mean, so you know that they're going to take money,
Yeah. And so my concern there was, the connections are super hot, obviously, with Drexler and Kimura.
Mm-hmm.
The sire's only 4% with first timers. Silver Max. The dam is 0 for 1, but only has 1 offspring. I mean, so things can change obviously pretty quickly. The works have not, I mean, there are some works that look good, but the most 2 recent ones were okay. I mean, 49-4 gate work, that was 84th out of 116, and a 102-4 5 furlong work, that was 72nd out of 85. I mean, nothing that maybe goes wow. And then you look at, interesting, for as successful as Drexler is, not a lot of success first time out as well. And so that was a little bit of a concern. And again, I know he's going to be breaking from, or she's going to be breaking from the second post because of the scratch of the 1. But I do not like, again, we talked about, rail with first time starters. I just don't like that.
Ombre is Ombre. There's a dead pet alarm going off here in the.
Oh, no.
Tim Mee. Yeah. Oh,
Tim Mee. There we go.
Not named Lewis.
I have a couple of friends named Jim. Exactly. Hey, listen, it's all good. And by the way, we got to give El Hombre. It's time to get a big win here, gents. Indeed, El Hombre. Let us know how the softball game went.
Yes,
everybody was very excited, wishing little El Hombre all the success. Let us know how the softball game went.
Yes.
We got $30 left here in the pot for the cocktail lounge. We did get a winner on the night, but we need to get another one here to close things out. Sean's going to be closing it out for us here in the final race. I guess I'll just very quickly talk about. Let me see the 3 and the 8. So the 3 was a little interesting to me. The 8 scratch, but let me talk a second about a 3 who's a big price. And I don't know what to make of that last effort because that was the first time back in almost a year. Last time out. And I mean, the horse honestly ran like it just needed one in a lot of ways. I mean, even the notes say tired, the horse needed some conditioning. And it was interesting. If you looked leading up to that last race, the horse, was kind of very modest works. And then they give this horse a really strong 5 furlong bullet. Of 59.3 right before that race. Then the horse kind of gets one under its belt. Then comes back now and goes and gets another bullet work, 47 flat 4 furlong, first out of 9 that day. And second back, I don't know if the all-weather's this horse's best surface. Maybe maybe turf is better.
It's Flightstown, so it should clearly love the off. The all-weather surface.
You would think. You would think.
Exactly.
And so I thought, that this horse is going to be a big price. I don't know. That was one I liked maybe using underneath.
And it was bet too last time. It was really bet down last time too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's gotten decent traction both times out. I mean, it was 9-1 first time out and 4 basically 9-2 last time out. So it's definitely attracted a little bit of money. So hey, this is great news.
Team champs.
Champs. Hey, only winners in the lounge. El Hombre, the little El Hombre getting it done there on the softball field.
Mufasa. All right.
Love it. Get the team ice cream now. Fun times. That's awesome. We love to see that.
Congratulations.
This is good times.
That's awesome.
And so, Tim, listen, I also am a social drinker, but no 8. So it's a sad day because Tim said he liked to be doing that. So, but let's see. We got King Sports Plays. He's going Exacta box 712,
Okay.
Exacta box 74, Exacta box 711. So he really likes this
Okay.
7 quite a bit.
Yeah, and
And that
burlap.
is
Yeah,
burlap, coming back from almost a 2-year layoff.
yeah. Juan Crawford. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be a big ask for that horse,
Well, for those
obviously.
people who like the 2-year layoffs, you've gotten a second already
Well,
from
don't you know it?
Kevin.
Don't you know it? Don't you know it? And you could also make the argument this horse's best race was at 5.5 furlongs
Yep,
at this level.
at this level. Yep,
Finished third that day, but ran a 54
yep,
buyer, which again is
yep.
the second best thing that anybody's run in this field almost.
Sure.
So by a point to Helka's Aura. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, where else? I know you mentioned the 11, my assistant. I know you and
Yes.
I both kind of like the 8 a little bit as well before the
Yes.
scratch.
Yeah.
Didn't know if there were other horses you wanted to maybe give a shout out to in this one.
Yeah. This race, I mean, this is a wide open of
Yeah, I hear you. You go a lot of
unexpected,
places. Yeah.
I mean, this is a tough race to finish on.
Yeah.
I can only imagine they love playing the super high 5 up there. The Jack, good luck to that. I mean, those players,
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, you need 10 horses to even have a chance at the thing,
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, this is a tough race,
It is. It is. We got
really
Brett who
is.
likes the 410 over 2. So he we've not talked much about the 10, which is not a lost cause.
Yeah, Contreras and Minshall. Yeah.
Yep. And the Dam, it does have a first time out winner, is 1 for 8, but still a first
Yeah.
time out winner.
Yeah. Out of Spadestown.
Out of
Another
Spadestown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another.
Absolutely. You'd figure they're
Yeah.
going to like the all weather a little bit.
Love it. Yeah.
And, Barbara Minshall has a little bit of success there with first out starters. Not a ton, but a little bit of success. And
she used to be the queen of the 2-year-olds. She used to win every 2-year-old race. And in the last year and a half, 2 years, she's fallen off. Like she used to be the queen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every 2-year-old that went out was 8 to 5.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting.
So exactly. So lately she's been on a little bit of a, last year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
So it's been, but you always have to watch her first time starters.
Yeah.
She knows how to get one ready.
Yep. Yep. So, yeah, no, I think, I think there's a lot of ways to go in this one. And, it's a challenging race. And again, looking at the will pays, it's pretty obvious the 12 and the 4 are going to be your first and second choice.
Right. Yeah.
12 currently 9 to 5. The 4 has gone from morning line 10 to 1 down to 5 to 2. And then you look at who else is in single digits, and you look at the 2 is at 7 to 1, and the 10 is at 8 to 1. And so those are the only other, and then the 5 I should mention is also at 8 to 1. So those are your 5 horses that are in single digits. Everyone else is double digits or higher.
Yeah.
So yeah. And that
how would you, if you were, how would you construct? Because this is the last race, so I want you to kind of here. Exactly. This is
tough. Part of me thinks the 12 is just the goods.
Yeah.
That the 12 is just better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I part of me would just say, listen, put the 12 up top.
Yeah.
And then include a bunch of, like, if you include your 11, include the 3. I actually would almost say fade the 4 a little bit, because I think the 4 is just getting way too much respect for a horse that's 0 for 16 lifetime and only 2 for 16 in the exacta. And so I would say, maybe go after a couple of these prices. I mean, I know, that the 10 is a little bit interesting that we just talked about for sure. Certainly the 5, may have a race to come back to. I mean, it's going to be first back from a long layoff, so that's a concern. But
Colebrook Farms, you always have to watch. Those guys are always first time winners. They're very good at getting horses.
Yeah. And, we'll see. Maybe that horse just needed a little bit of conditioning and to get a little bit older. So, we'll see. But I don't know. I and then this one from the inside, or the 2 from the inside rail, just, I just don't know if I can trust that one to get up there.
Yeah. That's
exacta.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd probably do something like a 12 with a I don't know,
Yeah,
like a 3-10-11 or something like that, like,
yeah.
or 3-10.
You know what I like?
I don't
What are
know.
we at right now? What are we at?
We
30?
got we got $30.
$30. Okay. I like this. Okay. We're gonna do a, let's see, we got $30. We're gonna do a $2 exacta key.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
With the
Exact key.
12.
12 keyed. Okay.
Yeah. Over the, let me see. Okay. 2,
Got it.
4,
Yep.
5,
Yep.
7, 11.
7-11. I'll be honest, I am making the executive decision to
Yep.
go big or go home. We're pumping it up to a $5
Love it.
exacta. It's going to cost $25, but
Perfect.
we're going 12 over. We're keying the 12 over
Yeah.
the 2, 4, 5, 7, 11.
Yeah.
That is the way we're playing that one. So submit that bet. That's the way we do it.
Love it.
So we got a total of a $25 exacta key
Yeah.
with the 12 over the 2. What was it? The 2, 5.
2, 4.
Oh, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, 2,
Yeah.
4, 5, 7, 11.
11. Yeah.
11. There you go. All right. So boom, that's how we're betting this last one.
like
Go
it.
big or go home.
I like it.
We're gonna try to make all of our money back here in the final race and see how we do. The 12 is at 8-5. And you mentioned that far outside post might not be quite as much of a disadvantage at
Sure.
Woodbine as it is in some other
It is
tracks.
not. It is not
Yeah.
as much as at Belmont. I don't like betting 12s.
Yeah.
Exactly. Here, it's much better straight out. You know what I'm saying? You can really get an advantage over people. You know.
Yep.
So,
I agree. I agree. I think, and it should be pointed out because of the 2 scratches, we'll be breaking actually a little further in
yes.
than the 12 posts. So that's something I always try to pay attention to. Is like, oh, well, they're scratching, so they're gonna, okay, everybody's moving over one or something like that.
Exactly.
So, but listen, let us know how you are playing this one, and we got Inopfa who was on fire earlier in the card with a couple of win place bets. They're going try box 4 through 6, 9, 12. I hear you on that.
Okay.
I
like it. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. We can all cash with that. So,
sure.
Greg asked, how's the 3? The 3 is floating up, man. The 3, I mean, I kind of tried to make a little bit of an argument for the 3, but the 3 is at 40-1 right now. So the 3 is completely dead on the board. And so that's a tough one. We got MKT here. It's going 5, 10, 11 exacta box win on the 10, 11. So he's with you on that 11. Sean really likes that 11 quite a bit in this race. So, And then we got Brett going with the 4, 10 over the 2 for him. So good luck to Brett there on that bet as well. So let us know as we approach post time how you're going to be betting this final race at Woodbine. They're loading them in. Private addicts, I got to get my act together here. They're loading them in and getting ready for this final race. And we got the 12 staying steady at 9-5, and the 4 is your second choice at 7-2, followed by the 2 at 5-1. And so that's where they are going into it, and they're just loading in Burlap right now, the number 7 horse. So he is in, and they got 4 more left to load as the 9, 10, 11, 12 all need to load in here. And the 9 is a little finicky, but he just needs some assistance. And so now the 9 is getting placed into the stall, into the gate, maybe. And so they're getting close to the post here. Starting to move in on the 10, moving into post, not a lost cause, going off at 9-1. The 11, my assistant, who you and a couple of other people like, he looks pretty alive. I like the look of that horse.
He's on his toes. Yeah,
he's on his toes for sure. And I like his compact. His body too. 27-1, but I like the way he looks a lot.
Yeah.
And now the 12 is getting loaded in here. Humor me, Jim. 8-5. So they are all loaded in for the bailout race and the finale, and they're off. And the 12 caught a flyer out of the gate,
We
man.
did.
And the 12 now crosses and clears. So Humor Me Jim up on the lead, along with Speedy Bubbles, the number 5, who puts a head in front. So it's going to be the 5 and the 12 up on the front end. And Victoria Elizabeth, the number 3, is on the inside rail, followed by Burlap, the number 7, and Not a Lost Cause, the number 10. But it is still Speedy Bubbles out in front with Humor Me Jim right alongside. They do the opening quarter in 22 and 2, and 22 and 3, I should say. I'm sorry. And they make their way around the far turn. And now the 12, Humor Me Jim, looms up on the outside and starts to put a head in front of Speedy Bubbles. And they get straightened up into the stretch. And Humor Me Jim is being asked to go and responds beautifully. Here comes the 10 as well. Not a Lost Cause. The 6 come flying up late. The 7's involved as well. Burlap. It is going to be Humor Me Jim, and it is going to be Spicy Sicily.
Wow.
To complete the exact horse nobody talked about.
No.
We didn't talk about that horse. Nobody in the comments talked about that horse. So the 6, Super Sicily, and Leo kind of comes back with a nice ride there on that 6.
Yeah, Leo had a
coming
great,
late,
nice day.
and then Burlap, the 7, get the job done. But that was a big upset there. Listen, we almost had it again, man. We had the 12 and we had the 7 underneath. But just lost out with that 6, and I, now I'm going to go back and take a look at that 6.
Yeah.
You had Awesome Slew out of Awesome Again. You had a Dam from Into Mischief.
And it never started.
First time starter who, the works are okay, but not anything that pops off the page at you. Abraham Cataran is, okay first time out, but not really that great. There's not a lot to suggest this horse was going to come running quite as well as he did there. And certainly
Awesome Slew was a Kase horse. I remember that. Yeah.
So there you go. Super Sicily gets the second place finish, but Humor Me Jim just that horse was pretty clearly the class of the field in that race and ran like it. So that was a very, very good one there in the finale for the connections for Paul Buttigieg. And so that was, like I said, I mean, he definitely ran back. I don't know if he ran back to that 66 buyer, but he definitely ran close to it. And we talked, if they were anywhere close to that race was over. So, Todd, I love it. Down $4, down to $4.80. So man, we're down a little bit today, but listen, that's all right. We're going to be back next week on the Cocktail Lounge. So make sure to come back. El Hombre will be back. Softball season is over. His daughter was the champion. So congrats to them. Listen, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to press that like button. Make sure to come back on Mondays for the live stream at Assiniboia Downs. We have a ton of fun.
On the race 5.
A lot of great racing, a lot of great guests, great vibe. Make sure to check out all of our Belmont Stakes content, all the content we have.
And make sure you check out this man right here with Acacia Courtney for your Belmont this weekend. A must watch.
Acacia Courtney is joining me. She and I, Acacia Courtney Clement, I have to get used to saying that. Acacia Courtney Clement is joining me on tomorrow morning. That video is going to be out on the channel by around 11:30. And we're going to be handicapping all 10 races for Belmont's Saturday card, which is highlighted by the Pennine Ridge. And so we're going to go races 1 through 10, give you our top pick, top value play for every single race. So, this was a lot of fun, Sean. We had a blast doing it. Always appreciate it. Until next time, my name is Matthew DeSantis, wishing you all a great and profitable day at the races and reminding you that it is now post time.